The question is, can that be my background? I'm not
Hello,
gonna do it.
we're live.
No, it can't.
I haven't seen it, but no.
We're not starting the
That can
panel just yet.
absolutely not be.
If Queen Alexa's
But
saying
we'll be
that she's
starting
not
shortly.
sending it to anyone, I'm gonna
Hey,
guess
The question
no.
is, can
Proud of
that be
that
my?
thumbnail.
What if I cover up?
Hello,
Mega
we're
Girls?
live.
No, it can't. Fucking
I
two to
haven't
the
seen it, but no.
cracking a ban.
We're
No,
not starting the
that can
panel just yet.
Here's the thing,
Insert
though.
myself.
Those are male-identified nipples. I'm almost certain.
Where the fuck is Elder Drazi? He was super hyped for this. We need him.
He was just whining in the chat that he can't find it for some reason.
Didn't you send it in chat? What do you mean you can't find it?
Can we drag people in?
Yeah.
If he can find the waiting room, we can.
He has to at least be in a room.
Damn it.
Yeah. That would
I'm
require.
gonna send him a message and see whether or not he's dead. Because he's got the orange dot.
Why
Not
did I
the
expect
orange
anything
dot.
other than
Alright,
shit,
well,
no?
fuck it. If he gets
Oh
here, he gets
my.
here. But we're gonna get started anyway, and we're supposed to have some other
Oh my.
people, hopefully. So
Okay.
that's how this is fucking gonna go. Okay, hi everyone, thanks for coming. This is the first ever Love Panel. We're gonna talk about.
You're
We're going to
cutting
talk
out.
about what?
You're cutting out.
You cut out.
Oh.
She's gone.
Elder Drazi has slit the throat of Queen Alexa. It is now a murder mystery. Can you take up the script, somebody?
It was
Yeah, I
it
can
was,
work
it was
on it.
Elder Drazi with the candlestick in the study.
So this is a love panel. I'm not 100% positive on what Queen Alexa's plan here is, but again, we wanted to bring everybody together that's been pivotal and involved in kind of this conversation and what's been going on with this whole Mr. Girl manifesto, Destiny, Lav sort of a thing. We're not going to talk too much about Destiny from what I understand. We want to talk about Lav and Mr. Girl. We want to talk about how much we appreciate and love them, what fantastic work they're doing here in the space, and what they're trying to accomplish, generally speaking, from what I understand. Of course, once Alexa gets her internet working again, I'm sure that she'll correct me on this. But I think that we could take a little bit of time and maybe start up at the top with Ginger and introduce yourself. Let us know who you are a little bit and kind of what you think about these individuals.
I am Ginger Ramoth. You can find me at Ginger Ramoth on Twitch and on Twitter. I do cosplay panels, gaming, and reactionary stuff. So if that's your interest, just consider following me. Also, I think they both suck. That's my summed up thing.
I'm back. Holy fuck! Windows 11 is killing me.
Yeah,
Well,
you're
that's the
Jesus
problem.
Christ.
Windows 11. Holy
Jesus
fuck. What were you saying?
Christ.
What the hell is a love panel, Alexa?
Yeah, we're gonna talk about why we love them, what we think about that.
Oh, there you go.
Basically. So the first question,
It's cursed audio.
the first question, yeah, fuck. Here.
Oh my god.
Why don't you DM them to me, Alexa, and I'll try to cover for you.
You want to
Thank you.
telegram us your intro? It would be more efficient.
I just want to say congrats to Microsoft for silencing probably the most dangerous voice in this space. If anybody has Israel, can we put Microsoft on the official ledger of the strongest warriors for the cause? Queen Alexa was the biggest threat towards Jewish interests since Elder Drazi, but that was already taken out of the field.
Man, oh man. Okay, Fresh Ink Cartel, thank you very much for the sub. Well, okay, Queen Alexa has DM'd me the first question that we're going to be asking on this one, and it is, who is Mr. Girl to you, and what does he mean to you? Who is Mr. Girl to you, and what does he mean to you? Ginger, we kind of heard who you are a little bit, so we're going to skip that part from you, and just go ahead and tell me, who is Mr. Girl to you, and what does he mean to you?
I think that he's a grifter. I think that he plays out that he thinks that he's very smart. He's not very smart. He's a sensitive little bitch boy. And yeah, I think that he's a nuisance.
Dadgum. Dadgum, the love is flowing already around here. I absolutely love it. I was going to go to Sick next. Looks like he's coming back,
A New
generally
York
speaking. Sick,
New York
now that
City
you're
rat.
here, who are you? Give yourself a short little plug, and then tell me, who is Mr. Girl to you, and what does he mean to you, please?
I am the guy who made the infamous Lav doc that people may or may not be avoiding me for making. If it makes me come off as an
That was
online
good
schizo,
shit, dude. That was good shit, dude.
if it makes me come off as an online schizo, that's because I am. And then I guess I used to be a mod for Mr. Girl. Used to be a pretty involved community member. Who Mr. Girl is to me, basically, I don't know. I think he's a wonderful artist. I think he makes amazing videos when they're pre-written, when they're kind of scripted. He's really good at showing offensive parts of his life to people and trying to normalize it in the idea that maybe this is not the part of you that you're wanting to expose, but it's something that a lot of people go through, and you're not so you're not too unique for going through some of these experiences. And then outside of that, I also think he's kind of like an insane online schizo. I'd put him probably in the same group as me.
Valid. See, that's the love we're looking for. Sick, thank you again for being here. Next up, Smith. Who are you? If you could give us a short little plug. And again, who is Mr. Girl to you? And, what does he mean to you?
I am a Mr. Girl orbiter. I came from the Mr. Girl hotline. He inspired me to start streaming because he wasn't doing the React content or the playing video games content. He was actually making stuff, talking about stuff he cares about. And I was like, wow, I can actually get a following doing that. I can just express myself. So that's what he is to me. I also think he's a sensitive little bitch, just like Ginger said. And I think that's what's good about him. And I think that we need more sensitive little bitches. We need to stop being horrible assholes to each other and start being sensitive little bitches.
Just because you're a sensitive bitch doesn't mean you're not being an asshole.
Well, I appreciate that. Smith, thank you very much for joining us.
Somebody give your take.
That's good stuff. My turn? Man, oh man. Well, I am somebody online. I do things like this with Queen Alexa, and mostly I do interviews with very influential people here in this space. As far as Mr. Girl goes, I've always had a lot of respect for that individual. He does some very interesting things from a little bit of a different perspective than most people. I think that his original message on the streaming platform was that streaming doesn't necessarily have to be the way that everybody has approached it in the past, and that there are some very interesting questions. I think that he's always kind of been about this idea of, trying to tell the truth, particularly to yourself, and trying to love the people around you a little bit more. More recently, he seems to have a little bit more anger and hatred that he's throwing around. He seems to be very hurt and very angry, and I feel really bad for him in that regard, generally speaking, right about now.
All right, Stardust.
Hello, I'm Stardust. I'm a streamer. I do politics commentary, drama commentary, deep dives, things like that. Currently, I'm doing a deep dive on Gamergate, and I will be interviewing Brianna Wu on Friday, so check that out. And then after that, we'll be doing a deep dive into Nikocado Avocado, my king. You can find me. All my links are at links.fromstardust.net. Who is Mr. Girl to me? Mr. Girl was a friend of mine. He really stood out to me as a content creator. When I first saw him, I thought he was funny. I thought that he was unusual. I thought he was quirky. I thought he was unique. And, I still stand by those things. I still stand by him being funny, quirky, unique, a unique voice in the sphere. But I also think that he's a little bit manipulative. Just a little bit manipulative. A little bit of a control freak. A little bit of a not whatever the opposite of an empath is. All right. That's what I would say he is. So
a dickhead.
wasn't gonna go there, but Obviously, we had a very public falling out with our friendship. He was probably one of the closer friends that I've ever had online. But I don't regret having that falling out. And yeah, still a very unique voice, but once again, yeah, he's a little bit of a dickhead. So.
All right, Tuna Chip.
What's up? A fucking tuna chip. I'm just a goddamn streamer on the platform. What do I do? Doesn't fucking matter. Just give it a follow. Figure that shit out yourself. Outside of that, who is Mr. Girl to me? Mr. Girl is just a content creator. It's really as easy as that. I think that, loving or hating Mr. Girl in a strong way, if you don't have a personal relationship with him, is fucking weird. So I'm not going to go in and say that I love the person himself or hate the person himself. I think that that's very strange. But I will say that I think that Mr. Girl represents a certain thing that is possible for several different people, whether or not that is to be ambitious and try and, as he's described it, elevate the platform and elevate the relation of the content on the platform, which is something that I aspire to do as well. But then also the capacity to lose yourself inside of a dream, and find yourself in the middle of a process, not necessarily, sticking towards your original prospect on it. So I am fundamentally positive with him, but I do think his actions are separate from him as a person, and that you can love a person much like a mother does and think that he's fucking up. The boy's fucking up. The boy ain't right.
All right, Elder Drowsy, who is Mr. Girl and what does he mean to you?
You're muted, by the way.
Renounding.
There we go. I mean, who is Mr. Girl and what does he mean to me? Mr. Girl is the star of my favorite TV show. It just happens to be online. I would say that I respect some pretty clear boundaries. I wouldn't say that we're friends. We're very friendly. We talk like I talked to several of the people who are on this panel tonight, on stream and off stream. We're respectful with each other up to a point, and we can be pretty combative, like I have been with some of the people on this panel tonight. But the difference between the rest of you is that I like him a little bit more than I like the rest of you. Except for maybe you, Tuna Chip.
I was gonna say you went straight for my fucking heart on that one.
Tuna's probably the only person here that I would might actually bump into in real life. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan.
All right, you have 10 minutes to discuss this and then figure out your differences on this specific thing, and then we'll move on to another question.
I mean, I'll just say, I'm just here because 9 months ago, Mr. Girl promised all of his moderators a t-shirt, and I still haven't gotten it, and I'm trying to figure out where the fuck that went.
You didn't get your shirt? I got my shirt.
No, his admin has my address. Baby has my address. Send it to me.
If you're worried about the t-shirt, what you should have done is gone to the delivery address. It's does anybody have the address for Guantanamo Bay ready really quick? All Mr. Girl admins can get their shirt there upon certain met conditions.
Nice.
Terrible.
Okay, is there no disagreement? There's no disagreement. We'll move on to the next question.
I mean, there is disagreement because there's
Then
people
fight.
here that. I mean, there's people here that think that he's doing it because he's just being a bad little boy right now and
What's doing it?
Yeah, say it. Say
Okay.
it. Holy shit.
He's being a dickhead for one. He's going after.
Be more clear.
He's going after Destiny for reasons that he's making up, on the spot. He was fine with Destiny while Destiny was bringing him up, and then all of a sudden it got to a point where he stagnated, and he decided, this is where I'm going to blow things up at. There was nothing before that because they were good friends before that. Then on top of that, he decides to somehow magically adopt Lav and start calling her, you know, his daughter, and Shaylin's her mother, and these are disgusting behaviors that in like a normal society people would be like, what the fuck are you doing? But instead we've got people backing him up like, oh, you know, he's just a little, you know, he's just a little upset about some things and he'll get over it. No, this is absolute bullshit. He's writing a fucking documentary, like just like a fucking huge ass documentary, and writing a paper in like a fucking college dissertation on somebody. And you're saying, oh, it's weird to either hate or love somebody if you don't know them. Give me a break.
Ginger,
I think it's weird.
Ginger.
No, I want to point this out. I think it's weird as hell that you just said in a normal society the things he's doing would be shamed, and then you compared them to a dissertation or writing a paper on someone, which explains the things that you think are normal, explains the context you're coming from in terms of education. Like, I will agree, a large amount of interest, but the people he's writing about are huge public figures. I'm not a fan of the fucking goddamn.
Yeah, I'm not saying that he doesn't have a right to do it, but it's to be like, oh, you're crazy for either liking him or disliking him, but he's not crazy for sitting down and writing a what did he say? How long it was?
It's like
It's
over
100 pages.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I would
give
like
me a break.
I would,
Wait,
I would
just want to say one
volunteer-
thing. I just want to say one thing. I think that
No
the
talking over the Stardust. My goodness.
Let's
Yeah, let's
start.
talk.
I was gonna say something.
Let's go.
Frank was gonna
Let's
say
go.
something.
Sexism and
Oh my God, I'm
misogyny in
gonna
this
go through a
room is
wick loop.
unreal. My
Yeah,
goodness.
let's
I
go
was gonna say
Stardust
something.
and
Look,
Smash.
Well,
if you're
I was
going to be
gonna-
pro-Lav, then you need to also be aware of the misogyny that you're putting out onto this panel, okay? Because that is
No.
her biggest claim to fame, is fighting misogyny. And if
I
you're
don't
going to
need
be
to
a
do
misogynist
shit.
and talk
Sonya!
over Stardust, then you're not an actual friend or ally to Lav, okay?
All right. I guess I'm
Sonya,
not
this is
friend
a
or
lab
ally.
panel.
I will say
If we're gonna have
I will
to
say
hear
I
from
was
women-
speaking first. I will.
No, I
say
was gonna speak when Tuna
I
was speaking,
speaking-
and then you
Yeah,
started.
but I
you
but I
would-
Here,
spoke.
let's
But I
start out
spoke
with
Okay,
first.
enough
Shut the
with the
fuck
meta
up.
talk.
Okay, no.
But
I'm not gonna
but
do
I did
this.
speak first.
No,
But
I was
did
gonna speak.
first.
Me and Tuna started
You
talking
were
at the same time.
going to speak, but you didn't
Somebody
speak fast
moderate.
enough.
Yes, Stardust, you go first, and Smith, you get to go next.
Fuck you.
Sorry. Smith.
Jesus.
It's true. Smith was going to speak, but just didn't speak fast enough. I spoke faster. So, anyways, what I was going to say is that, you know, it may be normal to write a dissertation. It's not normal to write a dissertation on one person. And also, what I would say is it's not normal to tell somebody, hey, Steven, I will never betray you. And then go digging. Yeah, let me remind you, a few months ago, he literally said those word for word. Steven, I will never betray you. And then go digging to the point where Steven is now getting reached out to people who he's never contacted in his life before, saying, hey, there's this guy who's reaching out to me, who's writing an article on you. I don't know, like, we've never spoken before, but they're trying to find I don't know why they're reaching out to me, but they're trying to find some dirt on you or something. It's to the point where people who Steven is tangentially related to, who he has acquaintances with, who he's never spoken to before, are being reached out to in hopes that there's an abuse story there. So I think that's a little bit weird. Yeah.
I
All right,
think that
Smith, go.
I think that the Mr. Girl that said I will never betray you to Destiny was a coward and a liar. I think that the Mr. Girl that Ginger perceives as Mr. Girl is a despicable person. I don't perceive that same thing. But if her perception is right, then he is a despicable, and I don't think she's wrong for feeling that way or thinking that.
I just want to point out, for the whole dissertation thing, I mean, it is, if you're paying for an education, it's pretty normal to write a dissertation on somebody. I don't know how much I can hate Mr. Girl for doing the whole doc on Destiny. I feel like I'd be a little bit of a hypocrite. But I do want to point out, I think people would view me a little bit differently if I was contacting all of Lav's past personal partners, all of her personal connections. She even likes to say that I contacted a middle school friend of hers who was actually a person she talked to publicly on Twitter a week before she joined the Mr. Girl server. So, I dug a year. Let's be real. Mr. Girl has dug through Destiny's entire life to the point that we're now going into StarCraft forums. This seems a little bit overboard.
Like, I will say at least that the problems that I have with it, like I don't really, if Max actually thought there was some kind of abuse there, he should definitely do something about it. He shouldn't be quiet about it. My problem is more his approach and what he's done in order to frame this up. It seems to me like he decided beforehand that there absolutely was abuse, and so what he's looking for is anything that he can to confirm that bias that he has previously established, right? So he's got a foregone conclusion, and he's looking only for anything that he can find that can help him justify that foregone conclusion or prove it. He doesn't care about anything that would disprove it. He doesn't care about grabbing all the information and looking at it objectively. The only thing he cares about is confirming his biases. So
How can you
it's very
say
much
that?
a
How can you
biased
say that?
investigation.
How can you say he doesn't care about grabbing all the information and looking at it objectively?
Because I literally talked to him about this, and he literally explained it to me. He has a dogmatic view that if you don't 100% agree with his position on it, then you are, quote, brainwashed and part of the cult. He doesn't care about counter information. He doesn't care about both sides of the story. He cares about his narrative only, and that's a fact. This is something
I'm going to
he
finish.
told
I'm going to
me.
wait. How can you say that when he's spent so long doing this and he keeps changing and adding to and amending his fucking article? We haven't even read it. Once you've read it, then you can make that claim and I'll listen to you. But if you make that claim before you've read it, I'm going to say you're a fucking asshole.
Nope, that's bullshit. He's actually established openly to multiple people, incling myself.
Have you read it?
Wait, let's.
It doesn't matter if I've read it.
Finish.
He's literally said that he sees anybody who doesn't agree with his position as being part of a cult. He doesn't care about both sides of the story. He doesn't care about all the information. He cares only about 100% establishing his narrative that he has already decided on. That's all that he cares about. And if you don't agree, or if the information doesn't agree, it's part of the cult. It is counter to his narrative and therefore inconvenient, and he will throw it out as being biased itself.
Okay,
he doesn't
if that's
give
the
a
case,
shit about facts.
Are you going to not read it then? Are you going to just dismiss it without reading it then?
No, I'm going to read it.
No. I think you shouldn't read it. I think you should not read it. I think you know you have a foregone conclusion about this fucking article. So don't you fucking dare read it.
Oh, really? Explain how I've got a foregone conclusion about this article. I literally just gave you the information that he has told us and me.
Well, don't fucking read it. Because you fucking know what's going to be in it, so don't fucking read it.
Are you
really?
Why are you so cranky?
All right,
What's
Smith,
going on?
Smith, what's going on with you here?
Because I'm
tell me,
fucking
buddy.
sick of
Tell me
this
what's
shit.
on. Tell me what's going on in your mind. Here, let it all out. Let it all out.
I'm sick of it.
Let it all
Fucking
out.
retarded. Just wait till it comes out and
Let
then,
it all.
then
come on.
then you
be
can
honest
criticize.
with
You
us.
can criticize.
Be honest with us.
You can
and tell us
criticize the
exactly how you
article. I'll be
feel.
honest. You can criticize. I've been being honest. You can criticize the article when it comes out. You have a foregone conclusion about the article.
I haven't. Well, no.
Okay.
Quite the opposite, actually.
You know who's giving that? Who's giving that idea that it's going to be a shit show? Is Mr. Girl. He's the one out there saying, "This is what I'm putting in here. This is what I'm gathering." He's going to girls' only fans to ask them what Destiny's done to them. It's fucking psychotic. If you're gonna get mad at anybody, get mad at the guy that you're kissing his ass to.
So he's literally
like a
confirming his
psychotic ex.
biases. He is open in explaining this. He's been very open about it, very transparent about that. You're choosing to ignore it. I'm not.
I'm not.
I'm simply being a
I
little
have
bit more
concerns about the
objective than you
efficacy of the
are.
article. I have concerns. It freaks me out that he's writing this article. That's why I did the interrogation of Mr. Girl. I had concerns about the efficacy and how he's going through with his investigation, how he's collecting his information. People have
How did
brought
that
up
go,
concerns.
Smith?
People have
So
brought
then,
up
so then you
concerns.
agree with me on my position then,
Can I
right?
just
No.
defend Smith
Well,
real
then
quick?
why don't you agree with it? Because I literally just said
Because
what
I
you
haven't
said.
read it.
It doesn't matter about what we're saying. We're talking about the investigation. Fuck the article. The article is its own thing. We're talking about the investigation, not the article.
You can have criticisms of the process that he uses to make his article, and I think that is what Zonia is criticizing.
Exactly.
No, her main criticism was that he has a dogmatic point of view and that he's only going to use stuff that says what he. If you cannot say that his article is going to be dogmatic and dismiss anything that doesn't.
I didn't
go
say
against
shit
what he
about
says.
his article. I said
Before
it's
you've read it.
process. It is a biased investigation
He didn't
where
say
he's
it about his
cherry.
article.
It is a biased investigation where he's openly admitting to cherry picking only the information that confirms his bias, and anything else he's throwing out as inconvenient or part of a cult.
He actually said, he was asked if he finds anything good about Destiny, if he was going to bring it up, and he said no, probably not.
I did ask
Okay,
that.
I just want to point out.
Probably not, didn't he?
Right, he did.
Yeah, thank you. So
100%.
Zonia's conclusion is pretty much obsolete.
He said
from
probably
what we're
not
talking about.
because the article isn't about what's good about Destiny.
Exactly. It's
So,
all about
If
everything
you
that
want to
Destiny's
write,
done
if you
wrong.
want to write
It's
an
all
article
about
if
confirming
she's-
Max's
no, no,
bias.
no.
So if I
So
want
she's-
to, yeah, if I want to write an article about how about how somebody online has a TV in his fucking thing. If I find information that he doesn't, I have to write everything about him. I have to write his dick size. Any information I find about him, I have to put it in.
Works.
No, I'm gonna write
that's not how it works.
information
If you
about his
find
fucking
no,
screen.
if you find information that literally tells you no, he doesn't actually have a TV in his room, then you would have to go and say, oh shit, I don't
Well, the
actually
thing
have
is-
something to say about this.
The
then,
thing
because
is,
there
I
isn't
can see the
actually a
TV
in
with
his
my
room.
eyes.
Congratulations.
I feel like that's how
do
Mr.
wanna-
Girl feels.
Okay, I get it. Everybody wants to yell at Smith. I got to defend Smith here. One of the things that were brought up was the fact that he was contacting one of the people from Destiny's Past over OnlyFans. I think if you are doing some investigative journalism, which I do not agree is what Mr. Girl is doing because of the process by which he's going about it, contacting people through means like that is not abnormal at all.
No.
In fact, any sort of point of contact that you have that you can take advantage of that doesn't invade upon the person, you should be taking advantage of that. I think
That
that's
is
really-
invading upon the person.
Well, here's the
Well,
thing. If he
yeah,
genuinely thought that Steven was abusing people and he thought there was something that to investigate there, then absolutely he should be digging into something like that. Maybe not him, though, because of his biased approach, that he's literally going to cherry pick everything. He's not going to include information that would disprove his case. So he doesn't really care about the truth. It should
Is
be
it not-
somebody
hold on,
who's
like-
Hold on,
a
wait
little
a
bit more
second.
of an impartial
There's
view.
information that
So
disproves.
it should be
there's
it should be like
information-
an actual journalist who has an impartial view of this
There's
investigating.
wait,
not
wait,
somebody-
hold on.
not
There's
somebody who's
information.
trying to
There
cherry
is.
pick things
I have
about
something
their
important to say.
biases.
There's information.
Both
There is
sides
information
are
that
fucking begging the question of whether or not both sides are begging the question right now of whether or not he is doing this with malicious intent or if he is doing this because
I don't
he
know
thinks
if it's-
that it is a good.
I have
Thank
more
you.
reason these days to believe that it's probably malicious, but I don't really care if it's malicious or not. I care about the confirmation bias approach that he's taking. That's the thing that bothers me, and that's the only thing that bothers me.
If
I'm
you don't
100% confident
you
that if he finds information that proves that something that he's putting in the article is false, that means that thing is going to fucking not be in the article, and that he's
I
been
can
doing
tell-
that.
I can tell you, Smith,
No,
one of the
if he
problems that's going to happen with
disproves
the article.
if he finds information that would disprove the thing that he's claiming,
Yes.
he would not include that. I don't think.
False. No.
there's
For
no
example, the thing
way-
that just came
wait.
out about somebody
It
fucking
looks-
lying to him.
Everything,
all the
he
things
has told us tells us that it is all confirmation bias. He's very open about the
Okay.
confirmation bias.
Well, the thing that was just tweeted about that fucking Destiny said that there were people fucking going to him and spreading lies. He said he'd never put any of those in the actual draft of the article and because he couldn't confirm them. So I think that actually
he's
proves that
literally said on his stream.
he's only
that-
putting things he can confirm in the article.
Well, he's
Imagine
already.
thinking this.
No, that's actually not entirely
not
true,
true.
because somebody just came out to Steven to let them know that they just told him the other day
Yes.
that they
Did you read it?
told
Did you read
Max
it? Did
that
you
they
read
were
Max's
that they
tweet
made
about
the
that?
whole thing up.
Max said
Yeah.
that shit that they made up. He said that many people came to him and they told him shit. They fucking made up shit to fucking confuse him and ruin his article. And he never put any of those stories in the actual article because he could never confirm any of them.
Can we go back to? Can we both go back to pretending that this whole article isn't like based on him just being upset at Destiny? Like
Okay,
that he really feels bad for these women.
everybody
you-
is baking in their assumptions about this and then just stating it as fact, and I think that's a
Yes,
little bit weird.
fucking
If
That's what
somebody
you guys are doing
is,
too. That's what this
no, I
panel's
have not.
about.
I have not done any of that. I haven't said a single thing like that. And
But you're about to.
maybe say for Smith here, I'm the biggest Mr. Girl fan here. I've been called simp for Mr. Girl probably 80% as many times as Smith has.
I
So
don't care if
here's
you're
the problem.
a
The
simp or not.
person who said that they were lying, he wants to include what they said in the article. That doesn't mean that he wants to say that everything that they said is truthful. It could simply be that here's an example of the kinds of behavior that people are fans of Destiny engage in. They will go to you and they will lie to you to try to interfere with you, trying to look into him. We
You
don't
know that-
know things. There are
Okay.
things that we don't know, and I think it's really weird. So for anybody who thinks that I'm weird for being a fan of Mr. Girl, one, a bunch of other people or thousands of other people were fans of him before he decided to cut ties with Destiny. And the other thing is too, that you're just you're assuming so much, and then you just state it as fact. And it's like,
Okay.
well, this seems kind of weird. I'm gonna draw these kinds of connections. That's not what anybody here is doing. They're taking
So-
their biases and they're saying this is a fact.
So
Okay, but
he
that's
is.
what-
I think
so,
that's very weird.
Rafi, he's openly admitted on his streams that anybody who doesn't agree with his position is part of a cult or brainwashed. Do you agree that that's pretty fucking crazy? That's like dogmatically crazy, and that is not the mind of somebody who is taking an impartial approach to investigating this situation.
Yeah,
I don't
think they're saying that it
crazy.
doesn't matter because it doesn't speak to the validity of the article.
Yeah,
well, if his view is that anything that doesn't agree with his narrative is part of the opposite bias, right? Is
No.
something that he is dogmatically opposed to, then why the fuck would he include that?
No, his
He's
view
literally
his view is not that
himself
his view
into a
is
purely
not
dogmatic perspective of this.
his view is not
Yeah,
that
yeah.
anything that doesn't agree with his perspective is some cultish lie. No, his view is that people that agree with the narrative that Destiny has put forward.
That's not
Those
what he said.
people-
He said
that
literally,
is what-
if you don't
okay.
agree with
Well, if
him,
that's not-
then you're brainwashed or part of the
Yeah,
cult.
no,
That's
he's
what
not
he
saying that.
said.
He's saying that
I have to
if
cut
you
this
follow
off.
Destiny's narrative, you're
So, no,
This
that's not.
that
what
is
he's
what he
saying.
said. And if you
I'm
don't
so
believe that,
sorry,
you're a
let me-
fucking retard. But I don't
Go-
believe you're a retard. You're lying.
Let's get Ginger to go for a while.
First of all, I'm really sick of this narrative that only people who are like sycophantic about Destiny are against Mr. Girl. So the idea that there's only people from Destiny's side ruining whatever and joking about this stupid fucking article that are only Destiny ass kissers is absolute bullshit. Stop coping. A lot of people don't like Mr. Girl, and it has nothing to do with Destiny. No,
And it's
most
pure,
people
like-
who dislike Mr. Girl
Oh,
don't know who
shit.
the fuck Destiny is.
Yeah, and it's pure
there's
middle
a
school
whole-
tier, just tribal fucking behavior. You know?
Prior to Destiny,
not reason-
there was already, prior to Destiny, a lot of the YouTube community already didn't like Mr. Girl. Destiny had nothing to do with that. There was a huge community on YouTube that did not like Mr. Girl, and they just viewed him as the dude who made the Weird Cuties review, right? And that I'm not saying anything whether they're valid or not in that, right? But that is evidence of a group of people who think that who dislike what Mr. Girl is doing, and they don't dislike him just because Destiny dislikes him or Destiny has an issue with him. That's evidence of an entire group that has a different reason, right? Those people couldn't give a fuck about Destiny. As somebody who used to be a Mr. Girl fan, I will say that reaching out to people that are so far that are so like going so far into Destiny's life that you are reaching out to people who haven't even contacted Destiny yet, who don't even know Destiny, who've never had contact with him before, and those people are reaching out to Destiny being like, hey, this guy is contacting me. That is an issue. That's a little bit weird. Just like you said, if Sick had gone and contacted people in Lav's life to the extent that people on the peripheral who had never talked to her before, who only knew of her, were reaching out to her saying, hey, this guy is contacting me about her, I would have criticized Sick on that too, right? But this is what Mr. Girl is doing. It is weird to be doing that. I'm somebody who has appreciated his work in the past, but this seems very spite driven to me.
Speaking of spite driven, that there are people in my chat right now that I've had to, for the first time ever, had to block in my chat because they're saying things that could cause direct real world harm to Mr. Girl simply because we're talking about him. Okay.
Just assume they're all
I've
my
got the same
chatters.
thing.
Okay.
So let's forget about like the chatters. Let's focus a little bit more on like
Yeah, what is
the
that?
main
Wait. No,
characters
this speaks.
involved,
This
right?
speaks to why somebody might feel. Okay, so Mr. Girl didn't stream before any of this. So we talk about calling something a cult or saying this is cult-like behavior. When you have people who show up in somebody my size's stream and they're doing something that's trying to hurt somebody, like for real in their real life outside of this streaming shit. I understand how somebody who isn't a part of this stuff.
Wait.
That would
You don't
seem
think
I've got the
had
same
that
thing.
from
I've got
Mr.
the same
Girls
thing.
Fans? I've had the exact same thing from Mr. Girls fans, and I'm sure there are plenty of people in this call who have had the same thing from Mr. Girl fans.
Wait.
where we've had people come flooding into our chat, fans of Mr. Girl, who are coming into our chat, who are saying things that are, towing the line very seriously.
I don't think
Okay,
this is
I
towing
also-
the line.
No, I also just want to say that you said that Mr. Girl didn't stream before any of this. That's true, but his Cuties review did come out way before he met Destiny, and that's why most people were pissed off at Mr. Girl to begin with, and that's why most people who are fucking insane go into other people's chats and say that kind of shit. Not because of what he's done to Destiny or what he is about to do to Destiny, we don't know, but it's about the consequences of his actions previous to meeting Destiny and after meeting Destiny. Has nothing
5 more
to do
minutes
with
on this
actual
question.
Destiny.
To be clear,
next one.
To be
Stardust,
clear,
I just sent you a direct message about what's being said in my chat. Are Mr. Girl fans doing that to you?
Let me take a look here.
to be clear, if the reason you dislike Mr. Girl is because of the Cuties documentary, you're a fucking retard. You need to grow the hell up. You need to watch things with a level of media literacy. If that's the thing that makes you hate him as a person, that's it. You by now it needs to be very clear that that's a stupid reason to hate the person.
Kind of like a little bit of a segue, not to like change the topic because I know we're going to it anyway. But honestly, like that's the thing that Max should get back to. That's what he was good at. That's what we all enjoyed. He made amazing videos, right?
Yep.
Sucks that he's been deplatformed from YouTube. Hopefully he'll eventually get that back. But that's what we loved about him. But then he kind of spiraled out of control after the Dr. K thing. He was supposed to be doing some big old expose on Dr. K, ended up turning it into like a short little meme video. And he hasn't put anything really substantial out since then. He's just been in this rut content-wise, and he's been weirdly obsessive since he got to streaming. Dr. K, Steven, right? It's like he needs to check himself. There's something wrong there. He needs to kind of get back to the things that he loved and enjoyed, that he flourished in, and that the rest of us also appreciated. That's what he needs to get back to, instead of this weird, like, obsessed ex-lover shit that he's been doing.
To be clear,
this
and
shit's crazy.
to be clear, and I don't know this, so that's why I'm gonna go to Drazi, who is essentially our scout. My understanding on how he approaches that, or he thinks of that, is that he actually does see this documentary as a natural extension of that, because the thing that he found insidious about Dr. K, he thought was weird inside of this space, and now he thinks it's something that stems from the nature of people that are powerful in the space. Nonetheless, of course, his fucking videos were way better because he had way more control, and he's a person that needs so much filtering, and sometimes he's able to do it inside of his own videos. But yeah, number one critique, I think everybody, no matter how fucking positive you are about Mr. Girl or negative, number one critique, the man's first drafts make the room set on fire. That's just like that's what he's most fucking famous for. He is not a person that can be unfiltered. We need an Omni filter, we need a boop filter for fucking Mr. Girl's anything. It's what Drazi's trying to be, I think.
I would just reiterate that the commentary community had their whole falling out with Mr. Girl like way before Destiny did, a year and a half before.
But the thing I was trying to say was, I think that if you are saying that Mr. Girl, it was implying the people that don't like him because of cuties are brainwashed in relation to the article. I think that you're full of shit. I think he's saying that the people that are coming at him with Destiny's direct narrative are the people that are brainwashed, because that's the narrative he's challenging. So if you tell him the thing he's challenging,
said if you don't agree with him, you're brainwashed.
Okay, well that's what he was talking about. Why don't you fucking take my word for it?
No,
because it's kind of obvious. Because it's kind of obvious.
Take his word for it, not yours. You are not Max's translator.
It's fucking obvious.
Translator.
It is fucking obvious.
Trust me.
Trust me because it's obvious.
Smith,
trust me because it's fucking obvious. You fucking retard.
Multiple people on this panel know Max better than you do.
Okay,
so
I don't care.
You can fuck off with that shit.
Okay, I'll go fuck off with that shit. Why don't you just not
you're
ignore
just
something that's fucking obvious?
Retarded fucking fan, dude.
You know,
you're literally a little fucking kid chasing after his coattails. You don't know shit about the guy. You don't actually know him. You're a fucking retarded little fan. That's it. And you're somebody who copied all his rhetoric to try to make yourself famous. You're just a fucking hack. So fuck off with this shit.
You know what?
You have people on here disagreeing with you who actually know Max personally. Get fucked.
I don't care. I think that you're ignoring something that's fucking obvious because you're a liar. I don't think you're a retard. I think you're a fucking liar. You're a piece of shit.
Okay.
All right, I don't really care what you think.
I know you don't care. I don't give a fucking shit what you think about me.
Smith, ask me why I would care what a hack who copies someone else's rhetoric.
I don't fucking care.
You don't have your own
Fuck you!
brain.
I don't
You're
care.
A clone.
You're a piece
You're
of
an
shit.
actual
I don't care.
exact fucking cheap, shitty copy clone
You're gonna shit on me, and I'm gonna talk over
Right?
you. You're gonna shit on me. I'm gonna talk over you.
Sonia,
Okay.
trust.
You're
trust-
nowhere near the master.
No, yeah, you're a fucking
Just a
retard.
cheap knockoff.
Fuck blah 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 blah. No,
Cheap
as long as
fucking
you're gonna just
knockoff
talk shit
retarded
about me,
piece
I'm
of
gonna talk
shit.
over you.
You gotta trust him, all right? Because Max isn't emotional. He knows because he's not emotional either.
So I will reiterate for the panel here that Zoni and I were friends with Max on a very deep, at least I felt on a very deep level. Okay, so when I say that this seems spiteful, I'm saying it as somebody who used to be friends with him, and somebody who really did look for the best in him. Even Max himself has admitted, like, my interview with him helped humanize him to the broader politics community, and it's and it's something I'm still proud of. But yeah, somebody who's known him on a pretty to me, what feels like a pretty intimate level, it feels very spiteful.
Okay,
if it
hold on,
pleases
hold on.
the
No,
court,
no,
can
we're
I
done,
talk
we're
to
done.
Smith
Hold
for
on,
just
no.
a moment? Horse to
Hold on,
horse.
hold on.
30 seconds.
Okay, I'll let you go, and then we're going to the next question. So go ahead.
Right. Thank you. Smith, there are very few people that are as passionate about Mr. Girl's content as you and I are. And when we're in a situation like this, where we get to talk to not only other people who have strong contentions with him, but to a broader audience, I think that you and I have, if you care about the content that he makes, I think that we have a little bit of a stronger responsibility to try to engage a little bit better than screaming at people and calling them retards, so that we can get people to understand what we're saying. You're going to cancel out a bunch of people that want to hear important things that I want you to be able to say and be heard. So, I mean, it's fine to think that somebody's being retarded, but, like, you got to
I
consider
don't
the
think she's
context
retarded.
here, man.
I don't think she's retarded. I think she's lying.
All right,
I don't
that's
think
fine.
it's
We're going to
fine.
move on to the next question. All right, we need to fill the love. All right, next question. Lav. Is she a misunderstood person, or is she an evil fucking psychopath who's bullied off the internet? Okay, how about you go first?
Who goes first?
Let's hear sick
Zonia.
first.
Options.
Let's hear sick
Sure,
first.
sure. I'll
Sick,
go.
sick.
She already
sick,
called
sick.
my name.
Okay, fine.
Evil is not really a term I use to describe people, but I think she really enjoys the attention and the praise that people give her, and feeling like she's important and like she's part of everything, and like she's got the information, which is why she often drops names and shit, does the name dropping thing, and tries to drop like secrets about people that she's privy to. And I think because she got a lot of backlash from that in a unique way in this space because of how critical people can be, I think she realized that she doesn't have a lot of purchase doing that without significant backlash in this environment. And Max became sort of a shelter for her because of the kind of backlash he was dealing with. And she's sort of riding along with what he's got going on, which allows her to continue doing the thing that makes her feel like she's getting the attention and praise that she needs and validates her, while still being able to sort of play the victim card by pointing to Max and saying, well, look what's going on. I'm his star witness. He's my symbolic father. We're both abused by Steven, etc. It's not my fault. So she sort of has this shield to fall back on. It's a shield that, like, a lot of us have been chipping away at and trying to show her that it's not actually an effective shield, but there's not a lot you can do to convince her. So I wouldn't say that she's like some evil person. I think she's constantly trying to feed her ego and her need for attention and validation, and she'll do that in whatever way is available to her. And that's what we're seeing here.
All right, tuna chip.
I want to hear what Sick has to say.
I mean, I don't know why you want to hear what I have to say.
No,
I don't
we'll
know
get
much
to
about
Sick.
it.
I do too.
I'll answer it.
I do
Yeah,
too.
we'll get there. So tuna, go.
I know the spot. Okay, do you ever go into the fridge and you want to just eat the cheese out of the bag, and Mom's like, you need to have your lactate first. I don't think that Lav has a single coherent amount of being understood or not understood. If you ask any given person what they know about Lav, what they don't know about Lav, you're gonna get a fucking insanely wide array of opinions. So I don't know how to put my fucking finger on the pulse of how many people know what and don't know what. My opinion on Lav is that Lav is, like Mr. Girl, not that different from other people, but at the same time is not very responsible about what places on the internet she's going. I think Lav's just like a normal fucking girl, which is an insane opinion to some people. I think she's a totally normal person.
She's a
but
normal
who has
fucking
no-
nearly quarter-century old woman. Come on, he's doing the fucking little girl thing. Come on.
The little girl thing?
Don't
Okay,
infantilize her. Don't
You can
infantilize
respond
her.
after you can respond when the show's over. You can respond.
I said totally normal. Do you think that I said totally innocent?
No,
That's
we'll
not what my
debate when the
fucking
floor's
point
open.
was.
We'll debate when the floor's open.
Thank you. So
Fucking sexist.
yes, yes. In fact, let's go hardcore on it. She's just another ditzy broad, just another one of these fucking dime a dozen, hanging off Destiny's dick. Is that what I was saying? No, I'm not. She's just another one of these fucking Jewish American princesses. No, she's just a
mid Jewish
normal
American
girl.
princesses.
I can't pronounce it as an acronym. Not on this website. No, so later. No, I think she's a normal fucking person in a strange situation that she should be prepared for, but for some reason isn't. She's been online enough, and she hasn't modified to it. It's really easy when looking from the outside and to be like, damn, she's in a fucking pickle right now. And then when talking to her person to person, you can recognize, oh, this person is not necessarily fucking, they're not thinking very hard about what's going on right now. But at the same time, then say, shouldn't they though? They've been on, once you learn more, you should be like, they've been in enough situations like this to probably figure out how to deal with that kind of shit. So yeah, Zonia, if I'm not trying to say she's fucking day zero out the pussy. I'm saying that she's still a normal ass person who should have adapted, and you have to answer the question inside your own head whether or not the fact that she hasn't adapted is because she shouldn't have to, which is the positive defensive side, or the negative side, which is that she is intentionally not doing that. That's like, those are the two main opinions that seem to be floating around right now. And I don't fucking know. I'm not in her goddamn brain. Move on to the most negative opinion so that doesn't sound too fucking soy.
All right, Smith.
I think that
Negative opinion. Here we go.
I think that she's considered hypocritical about things that are directly related to her trauma. I think she has an incredibly traumatic experience with her own
Teasler. Sorry,
I think she has an incredibly traumatic experience with her own womanhood and gender. She's super reinforced her own place in society as far as being a woman, where she's gone like full-headed on sexual objectification to the point where she's exploited herself but also profited greatly from it. So she has this very confusing relationship to her femininity, to porn, to OnlyFans, to sex work. And these are the things that people say she flip-flops on, fucking talking about like shit like Hassan, whatever, like bullshit. She's like that, like having like conversations in private about it that are more candid. It's because she's a loose cannon, off the cuff about these things that are directly related to her trauma. And anybody that doesn't see that and want to make space for that part of her, I think is only engaging in utterly superficial, surface level engagement with her and not really seeing what the fuck is going on.
Somebody online.
Man, oh man. Lav's an interesting individual. I think that she's coming from an extremely huge place of privilege. She seems to have a lot of conversations and not realize that there are more people listening than the one person that she's talking directly to, even in the same chat room in a lot of situations. She seems to say one thing and then someone else confronts her about it. Then she wants to go back and, try to push back against this. She wants to be like indefensible because, well, I'm just expressing my opinions. And my opinion is that here's a bunch of allegations. And then she doesn't want to necessarily back up the allegations that she's making because, again, she wants to fall back onto, well, these are just my feelings and I'm just explaining my perspective. She wants to pull a bunch of emotional weight in a lot of the things that she says because she wants people to get behind her and to believe everything that she says. But again, she doesn't want to change people's minds. She wants people to believe her because she's a cute girl on the internet that you should feel bad for. And I feel like Max is giving her that feeling of that support that she's hoping for, and so she's going along with what Max is saying. But again, as soon as somebody else comes into the situation, kind of pushes back against that, she's like, why are you being so mean to me? What do I need to tell you to make you be less mean to me and to be my friend? She's having conversations that she maybe shouldn't. She needs to protect herself a little bit more online. I'm not saying that she can't feel the way that she feels, but she needs to be a little bit more tactful with the way that she tries to express these things and who she shares certain pieces of information to, because it's damaging to her reputation. She's, going through a really difficult situation because of a lot of the things that she has done and a lot of bad choices that she has made up until now. And she needs to just watch herself is my big take on this thing. She needs to separate herself from Max. She needs to separate herself from Destiny. And she needs to realize that the shit that has happened to her, A, isn't that bad. And B, a lot of other people have gone through similar shit and much worse shit, and they don't react the way that she does.
Stardust.
I think somebody online summarized it really well, but I have to put a couple things out here. I've realized, through this whole ordeal, that I'm incredibly sexist. I'm willing to give way more charity to females than I am to males. I'm willing to hold men much more accountable, much easier than I am to do that with females. But I think Lav is an adult. She's an adult woman. And although, my stupid sexist brain wants me to give her more and more chances, she just says stupid things all the time, and she doesn't think about them, and she doesn't think about the consequences of her actions. She doesn't think about the fact that people can hear what she's saying and repeat what she just said back to her. And for some reason, I almost wonder if there's something wrong with her, because she's completely self-contradicting. She has no continuity in the things that she says. I think she's manipulative. I think she's smarter than Mr. Girl. Actually, if I'm going to be real with you guys, I think she's smarter than Mr. Girl. But I think I think she's more vulnerable than him too. I don't know. But I don't know. Fuck, dude. I think somebody has it summarized pretty well. She needs to kind of take a step back from the space. She needs to evaluate the way that she's reacting to things, evaluate the way that she's putting herself out there, and realize that people are going to hold her accountable, no matter what in this space. So.
I'm so glad that somebody finally wasn't infantilizing her. I don't care. I want to say something about it. Glad somebody wasn't infantilizing her for once. Thank you, Stardust.
Okay,
yeah,
that was my Zonia impression.
Oh, well, I do have to admit that again. I have realized through this ordeal that I am very sexist. I did not realize how sexist I am.
We've confirmed it. Clip and ship it. Always Rosie, fucking go.
Can you just repeat exactly what the question was when you asked that? I was putting out fires in my chat.
Is Lav a misunderstood person, or are they fucking psychotically evil?
Gotcha. That's quite the dichotomy. Okay. So I think that by and large, there's at least some misunderstandings. I think I largely agree with what Tuna said. I've talked to Lav off stream. I've talked to Lav on stream. I think that what Tuna pretty much nailed it, but also there's quite a lot of difference in what people think about Lav publicly. Like, for instance, Evil Fossil in my chat said, "Nah, that bitch taught me the word vernacular, bro. She out of control." So there's a lot of stuff that people think about her. I really do think that it's really easy to take things that she says and run with them in some insane way that makes that you kind of have to make Lav into some really kind of special, like larger than life kind of person to make some of the claims that people make. But at the same time, too, I can't have that strong of an opinion about anything that she says or does, because I follow her on Twitter. And if you've seen a woman's asshole and then you go and say negative things about her online, like, you're just automatically sexist. I don't intend to like infantilize or anything. I think that she knows that some of the stuff that she says is like factually incorrect. But I think that if you threw most people who aren't used to this kind of space into these kinds of spaces, they're going to say and do a lot of really weird things. I don't think it's a good excuse. I don't think she's crazy. I just think that she's a normal person her age who had as much social experience as she's expressed that she's had. This is what I would expect any given chick from my high school, if they were thrown into this online space, to be like to the T.
More infantilization. Jesus
I
fucking
swear to
Christ.
God, Zonia.
Can we
My
fucking
goodness,
get
this is
a?
just disgusting.
I think
fucking
Zonia. I think you
sexism and
finished your
that.
transformation because you're truly a fucking bitch.
Jesus
Thank
Christ.
you. That's so
I agree.
validating.
I
feel very affirmed.
Zonia really hates the
agree
chicks
with
I went to
that.
high school with.
Who care? Ginger, go!
Unbelievable. Okay. So I think Lav is selfish. I think she knows exactly what she's doing. She often will talk to somebody and she will take back something that she's previously said, then go on somebody else's stream and say the exact same thing, but not only that, but double down on it and add something extra into the mix that nobody else even knew about. Then she complains about people knowing too much about her. She does explain that, I'm new to this scene, blah, blah, blah. How long does it take for you to not be new to this scene? It shouldn't take that long. You're not a child. You're no longer a teenager. You should stop being treated as such. You were in your 20s. She needs to grow the fuck up and stop making everybody else or holding everybody else accountable to the things that she can't hold herself accountable for. It's gross to see the lack of accountability that she actually has. When you bring it up, she jokes around and she's like, ooh, say it again. That turns me on. Like, she turns herself into a joke, and when we respond in return, she gets upset. Sorry, but there's consequences to the way that you act online. There's consequences to the way the things that you say. If she has such a problem with it, maybe she should grow up and step away from it.
And the best friend of Lav, sick.
Okay. I mean, that's a little bit of a mischaracterization. I don't know much about the girl, but I will say, Tuna, you said Lav and normal in the same sentence, and I immediately threw out everything you said. But I will say, normal people, they don't look at 12-year-olds' pussies at a community pool. They don't admit to it. They don't talk about being curious about the genitals of children that she's overseeing. She brought up unverified allegations against people in the past. If Mr. Girl, in his investigation, is not including unverified stories, I would say kudos to him. I wish his daughter did the same thing. I also want to point out, she has said on a stream recently that Destiny watched that the worst she's ever talked about of Connor is basically he wouldn't let her paint his toenails or nails or something like that. So I just wanted to bring up... What do I want to bring up? Okay, Connor bends to me or we break up. By the way, these are all messages inside of her server. I can absolutely fault him for holding me hostage because of what he wants and feeling like he doesn't have to compromise because he has the money. Connor is so selfish that...
I'm muting this because I don't want to be spreading this kind of shit about somebody. I don't want to fucking be responsible for this. If you want to see this part of the stream, you can go to someone else's stream. I'm not going to be platforming this. When he's done talking, I'm going to put his volume back up. Let's take a look. Looks like something's changed.
She cried and hugged.
Nope. Someone else, we'll hear someone else talk.
Sick, you kicked your cam like that fucking Canadian from one Canadian protester.
I just gotta say, I disavow Sick bringing up the 12-year-old thing. I disavow that. I pushed hard against him on that. I wanted to state for the record on this particular panel, I pushed back really hard on Sick for that one. I disavow.
Oh, real quick, emergency. Reservoir was hacked. Do not click anything
What?
he sends you. Yeah, Reservoir was hacked. Do not click anything he sends you.
Free Resi, guys. Hashtag free Resi and all
Reservoir
chats,
was hacked.
please.
Don't click anything he sends. Okay, floor is open.
Boomer move.
I mean, the dude's a fucking, like, a 40-year-old pagan, okay? Come on. He's pretty fucking boomer.
I just have a question for Sick about what you just said. Do people not look at 12-year-old pussy, or do they not admit it? That was a very weird thing to hear somebody say.
First of all, no. It
I'll be
is
right back.
weird in the community that has
But
known...
he said it.
He gave both stipulations, so he's
Yes,
got to
yes,
answer
yes.
which one.
Yes, okay. So first of all, admitting to looking at a 12-year-old's pussy, I don't think people do in a community that has a proclivity to have pedophiles in it. I think that is a weird thing to even admit to. But I can understand admitting to it. I don't think that people look at 12-year-olds' pussies. No, I don't think that that's a normal, average thing. Maybe as a father, I do have an 11-year-old girl. But I'd be hard-pressed to ever imagine a time where my gaze is caught on a child for more than like a second.
I gotcha. Well, thank you for clearing that up. I feel like if it didn't get cleared up here, you'd have to clear it up at a less opportune time.
Okay, I'm gonna fucking address the normal thing. Do we really? Maybe I'm fucking delusional here. Because oh my god, don't fucking reorganize it, Sick. It'll get fucking fixed. She's coming back. I hope her camera's coming back. I feel like I'd be fucking delusional. I feel like I'm delusional here. Yeah, it is totally normal to be a fucking histrionic mess. Is that not a place that people have been in when they've been bullied before? Like, and this is important, it's not always that you didn't feed into it, and it's not always that it's not your fault that you're in the line of fire. But that's how fucking people respond to stress. Normal people, not people that are fucking hard grilled to the damn thing. Do I think that her fucking, okay, yeah, the 12-year-old pussy thing, that's a person trying to fit in to a pedophile space. So how about that one, Sick? It's really important that we recognize that that's what's going there. Is social adaptability.
So she's just going with the trend.
Hey, I don't fucking know whether or not.
I'll be honest. I'll be honest, Tuna. I don't trend with pedophiles. So.
Didn't you go on to Mr. Girl's
can I-
hotline originally to say that people thought you were a pedophile and stuff, and you wanted to talk about that story?
Are you talking about when I admitted that I was touched as an 8-year-old by my 10-year-old cousin, and then I touched my 8-year-old sister when I was 10?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
That's sad. I'm sorry, Sick.
talking
No, it's
about
fine.
something
It's
like
fine.
that.
I mean, 20
talking
years
about-
ago,
yeah,
you know?
talking about something like that, like, is the kind of conversation that you can have in that community. And it sounds like that's kind of the conversation that she was having. So, I mean, basically, like,
It doesn't sound like the same conversation she was
The
having.
context is quite different. I'll tell you that much.
I think it's.
If I can, okay, Tuna Chip, I'm going to agree with you, and I would say that it is not easy to be in the position that Lav's in, right? It is not easy to have a huge mob on the internet who's angry with you, that is pouring over everything that you do, right? And I will give her credit. You know, she is in a situation where there are tons of eyes on her, and no matter what she says, people are going to take it. They're going to examine it, and they're going to examine it backwards and forwards again, and then upside down, and then they're going to try and find every contradiction there is, right? I won't disagree with you there. But what I will say is that I don't find fault with her for being under immense pressure in that and reacting how a person under immense pressure would. But I do find fault with her continuing to antagonize people, continuing to be incredibly vitriolic to people, continuing to, and these are people who have been friendly to her, continuing to be incredibly vitriolic, incredibly contradictory, in very blatantly obvious ways. I'm not somebody who's like over analyzing everything that she's doing. I think I'm pretty, like I've said before, I'm sexist, and I will say, that she says irresponsible things. She contradicts herself. She's incredibly vitriolic to people. She can do better. She is a full-grown woman. She has the capability to do better. She needs to do better. So.
How do we know she's capable of doing better? How do we know that anybody's capable of doing more than they have only been demonstrated to do?
That's an
Because
act
she's
of good
intelligent.
faith.
I will say that she's intelligent. I think she's a very intelligent woman. I think she's smarter than Mr. Girl. I think she's smarter than a lot of the people she interacts with. But I think she has really poor decision making skills, and I think she has she has really bad impulses when it comes to saying really vitriolic things. When, like she did to Zonia, like she did with Madame Genevieve, like she's done to plenty of other people, and she also will just make blatantly false claims. Like, for example, that Pixie and Destiny hooked up. Why would you claim that? Why would you claim that? Claiming that other people in Destiny have hooked up when they haven't.
Like Madame Genevieve.
You should never make these claims, ever. Those were fucking crazy, So.
Can we at least all appreciate how hard she can lean into the criticism? I have never in my entire life seen somebody take the mountain of shit she has and then like turn around and like make jokes about it. Like,
I mean, I already gave her credit. for
well, I was just speaking broadly. That wasn't targeted at you, Star.
I think
because
How do
that's
you
the thing
feel
I
about
respect
that?
about her the most.
I really think that that thing you're talking about is where she focuses a lot of her creative energy, and I think she just needs to focus on something else, like not reacting to fucking trolls and like shit like that. She needs to focus on her own creative project, and I think she could do something great.
Did you see her Twitter poll?
Why would you blatantly say things like Pixie and Destiny hooked up, things like Genevieve and Destiny
I don't know
hooked
anything
up?
about that.
She said those things. She said those things like straight up, and she had no reason to say those things. She had no reason to believe those things. I have no reason. I have no reason to believe those things. Like, there's no evidence for any of that.
I mean, she also said that he tried to sleep with Kelly Jean when all he did was flirt with her.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about any of that.
Okay,
Honestly,
well,
It
maybe you
sounds like
should.
the reason why you
These
do
are
that is
claims
because
that
you're mad at somebody and
these are claims that
you
she's
wanna
never
let 'em
should have
know.
made. These are 3 different people at least that she's
Yeah.
made claims that are blatantly false about.
It's really fucked
Not
to
saying
just
that it's
drop
right.
that shit on people and say that shit publicly or even
Especially when
privately.
it-
It doesn't matter.
especially when
You don't gossip about
especially-
people with shit like that and slander them.
And especially when you know the implications, all of these people are females, and somebody who is a feminist herself, she should know the implications that these things put on these girls, on these women, right? You should know that when you imply that you sleep with a larger content creator, that you've hooked up with a larger content creator, and you see these girls who are, relatively successful in streaming, you know what you are implying about them. You know it's going to hurt them. You can't be doing that.
And can we all stop pretending that she's like this middle schooler mean girl or something and start actually treating her like the quarter-century-old adult that she actually is?
That's something that you do, is drop a rumor when somebody bugs you. No, that's not what a grown individual does. Is you keep your mouth shut when you don't know anything on the subject. Like,
yeah, and the reality is the issues that she's dealing with, these are expected outcomes, right? None of this is a surprise. None of you should be surprised that she's dealing with a shitload of backlash because of all the stupid shit she said about so many people. This is just expected outcomes. Does it suck that she deals with a perhaps inordinate amount of pressure and response? Possibly, but she's the one who keeps bringing it on herself. Like, look at what's going on with her right now. She's getting blown the fuck up on Twitter because of the way that she went full-on transphobe with me. She reaps what she sows.
The answer to both of these questions here is the same one. Why did she say this shit about the other women? Why is she saying this shit about Zonia? I'm grouping you in with women right now, Zonia. This is the most based recovery I've ever done in my life. No, it's opportunistic conversation. I don't know how to fucking know if it's intentional or not, but she's absolutely a fucking opportunist in conversation. Something inside of her fucking brain is telling her that it's true,
It is
It-
intentional because I've seen her.
You are not fucking God, Ginger. You are not God.
You can watch somebody. You can watch somebody's actions and
Turn your
kind of
fucking
think who they
goddamn
are.
noise gate off if you're gonna yell.
Why don't
Holy
you just
shit!
fuck off?
You have such an expensive microphone. It's so embarrassing. No, you are not
He
God.
gets like this. He
You do
gets
not
like
know.
this.
I'm not gonna get into the fucking text.
I think I would go back
bro.
to who was it who said it earlier? It was somebody that she seems to be ultra privileged, like come from a place of ultra privilege, where
Yes,
she
that's true.
it seems almost like she's never really had to deal with consequences much anymore. Probably got a lot of pretty privilege as well, because she is arguably fairly pretty, at least when she makes herself up, right? And so she doesn't have to deal. I don't think she had to deal with a lot of having to face the consequences and take responsibility. And so now she's well into her adulthood in a space that's rife with a lot of conflict, where people are open to critiquing each other, as well as open to pushing back quite aggressively, especially when false claims are made. And now she's having to deal with the brunt of it in a space that is very concentrated in its vitriol, having no experience dealing with consequences or accountability. And it's a shitty lesson to have to learn when you're fucking nearly 25 years old, right?
So why
Embarrassing.
why I think that it's opportunistic is because I've seen her actually leave panels that she had prior commitments to, like Stardust or somebody small, and Zerka or Destiny goes live, and she immediately jumps ship because she knows she can get more attention from the other person, even if she has a commitment to the person that she's already on. So if that's not opportunistic, I don't know what it is.
All I have to say is I don't know about that, but damn, that she's fucking hot. I just want to get some fucking feet pics. I just need to defend her to the fucking brim, because I really
being
wanted to send me those feet
ironic right
pics
now?
after this.
Yes,
I
he's
just
being
really want
ironic.
those feet pics.
I just don't understand jumping to the defense of somebody who literally says she wants to annihilate all men. Like, if you think she's joking on that, you're absurd.
I've had
Beth is
I've
ATP.
been making
She
that joke
wants that.
longer than her.
No,
Okay,
no. It's not a joke from her. She actually does hate men. You don't.
No, I've
hate
had
men, Stardust.
she does hate men, but she also absolutely hates women.
Yeah, I was gonna say the other night
hate.
she was in a fight
That's
on Not
fine.
So Erudite's server, and she was minimizing somebody getting sent dick pics and like, oh, my situation with
So-
Destiny is
so
so
you-
much
I'm gonna
worse.
I
claim.
think- yeah, her-
I have to say. I actually think that I'm more sexist than Lab. When it comes to being sexist against men, I think I am more sexist
Yeah,
than Lab. I think.
I think she's just self-serving, to be honest. Like,
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
honestly, I think like the hating men and stuff. I've noticed in her, like, she's like she's got like this really creative comedic tick that always comes up at the worst fucking time, and she follows that like it's her fucking guiding star, and people think she's like being serious all the time. She's joking when she says she hates all men. She's doing it to get a rise out of people because she thinks it's funny. I don't think she does it because she's evil. I think it is
but
funny
she
once you
also does-
realize.
she uses the
she's
joke
like-
thing
she's
to
like
escape
Sam
claims,
Hyde.
though, that
She's
she's
like-
making
no,
openly.
She's like
I'm
Sam
sorry.
Hyde. She's like
Yeah,
Sam
and
Hyde.
she-
I think
she-
if you engage
You
with
can't
her,
just, you can't,
Oh, she's not like
if you engage with her like a
thing.
female Sam Hyde, I think she makes a lot more sense.
You cannot bring up the
I
joke
don't
thing
think-
because the
I don't
problem
think
is
you
that
can
she
do it.
doesn't just use it for political points. She uses it when she's making honest to God fucking claims against people.
right.
Yeah, she's done. I think, in all honesty, I think she's done I think she's done a sizable amount of disparaging female content
guys
creators and
doing?
other females in this space, to the point where I don't believe that I would be more likely to believe that she's sexist against females than she is against males, because she has done more disparaging
No.
things towards females.
No,
she
you
seems
can-
to target women and feminine people more so than she does men by a long shot.
Yeah.
Okay, but she might not go after them the same way, but I guarantee you she targets men just as much, if not more, than she targets women.
Mm-mm.
Well, this
Just
is
like-
what
And
we're
she
saying,
goes
it's
ultra. Wait, she
self-serving,
goes
though,
no,
right?
ultra low. Hold on, she goes ultra low with women, and it's all about
That's
sex,
because she
right?
knows she can flirt her way out of most things with men. She doesn't think of men as seriously as she thinks of women. That's why she goes for the low blow when she goes for women. She makes that tee-hee joke when she's talking about men, Because she knows she can manipulate them easier. Yeah,
Well,
I've
she
seen
gets a
women
lot of
like her.
praise.
They hate
She gets a lot
women,
of
but they hate men
praise.
too.
She gets a lot of praise from men, and that definitely validates her, right? So, because you got the Smeths out there that want the feet pics, but the reality is, when it comes to the outcomes of her behavior, they tend to be more cutting and more hurtful toward women than they are men. It's not men that are the ones that she's like tearing down publicly so much, except in the case of Hassan and what's his name, that dude that she apparently got her head pushed down on and had to eat him out. But the otherwise, generally, she's talking about who women have, like various women, and what they've been doing with their sex lives, and criticizing women and attacking women and degrading women. That's generally her stock and trade.
In my
Do you
conversations
not know?
with her,
Do you guys not know people in real life that act like this? Am I fucking insane? Have you not?
Not since
You're talking
not
to-
since about like
Stupid.
ninth grade.
Listen,
not
you're
since like
talking
People
to
ninth
me.
grade.
stupid
Tuna
shit
chip,
got out of
tuna chip.
fucking holes.
Tuna
Wait,
Chip.
I just-
Tuna Chip. The
solution.
difference is Tuna Chip is that she is a 25-year-old woman. The last time I encountered somebody with this type of behavior, they were like 18.
that's before you
Yes,
got
yes.
locked in your
Even-
bedroom.
even-
That's before you
I
got
just wanna
locked in
point
your
out
bedroom
something.
with streamer mode.
I'm not trying to
Oh,
fucking.
good
I'm not trying to
one.
explain it away. It's real fucking simple. I don't know why we have to say she's sexist against men. She's sexist against women. She has this. She has that. There's this. It's a fucking normal, easy
Okay.
to conceptualize thing.
Nothing
you know
that she's
what it
doing
is
is normal.
Sure.
The problem,
You're
Tuna, is
hard.
when we encounter these people in real life, our standards for engagement are actually a lot fucking higher. You know why I haven't dealt with people like this in my real life that much? It's because as soon as I figure out they're like this, they get
walk
cut out
away.
in some way.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm just saying that the way that we're conceptualizing this, we're going into these lofty explanations when I know for a fact everybody here knows exactly what this behavior is in a very simple term. This is a person who is immature, opportunistic, finds themselves in a corner, and then says the thing, whether or not they know it or not, that they think is most likely to get them out of that corner. Now, the question
that's
here...
just laugh. Tee-hee.
No.
When I
what
first
the
encountered
fuck
Lav, I thought that she was
Ginger,
just
do you
a
think
troll.
that when I say that somebody has a simple explanation, that means it's fucking good? You have a fucking simple explanation for why your goddamn hair looks the way it does. You care about your appearance. She has a simple... it's some things speak for
This
themselves.
is straight out the shower, dude. What are you talking
It's
about?
not a...
Well, he likes it. Whatever.
He's saying your hair is
So,
good though. So.
Again,
Yeah,
what I
we
was
can't-
saying, when I first encountered Lav, I thought that she was just a troll in this space because she comes around and she goes, "Oh, I just want to play the supervillain. I want everybody to hate me. That way I get more views." And then she goes and tries to flip everything that she's trying to say to paint herself in a better light when she starts not enjoying the hate that she's getting. It's this never-ending cycle that she seems to go through where she wants everybody's love and affection and attention, but at the same time she wants to be able to portray herself as being tough and hard and not caring about what the haters say, and she wants sympathy for the things that she feels like she's being attacked for, and she wants to change everything that she's saying constantly to try to paint herself in the best possible light. I mean, it's a ridiculous maneuver.
In my conversations...
Can I
I
give me just 1 second here.
Go ahead.
Everybody's talking about what she does and why she does it. The Twitter poll that I mentioned, I think, is a really good demonstration of like what the intentionality is here and how she engages with things. She had a Twitter poll that said, "Should I get my septum re-pierced? Yes, no, and all you do is lie." Over 3,000 people responded to that. Okay, it was like 3,500 people. 55% said all you do is lie. Lav knows that people don't like her, and she's leaning into that hard as fuck. So this is a part of the equation here, is that she's going to use all these things that people are saying about her, even in this panel right now, is going to be a part of the rhetoric that she puts out there because it is effective for her.
But can I respond
3,500
to that?
people respond to a Twitter poll? That's crazy.
But can I respond to that? I feel like that's fine and everything. But if she is making it so that people hate her, I don't want to see her cry about it on stream.
True.
I mean, why are
Preach
you
it.
watching her
Preach
streams?
it.
Also,
No.
Stacey
No,
just
just-
said that she thinks
she-
Lav is hot.
Somebody
She
else's-
cries about her
this
on
is
other
the
people's
book
streams,
of
too,
Everybody
by the way.
else's stream. I'm just watching people like Stardust or somebody, and she'll just randomly go onto their stream when people are talking about her, make them say awful things, make them hate her, and then cry that they're
She
hating
makes
her.
other people say awful things.
You're not
Yeah,
gonna
she
get
does.
you're not gonna get feet pics with comments like that.
And
Let
she's
me tell you.
interacting with people.
God.
Wait, 'cause she criticizes people for
Okay, you got me there.
everything. She criticizes people for everything under the sun, and then goes and hangs out with people like big tech, who are known for getting people deplatformed, who are known for getting people, getting mass reporting people and being super far right and stuff like that. Tuna Chip, I am not disagreeing that like people, we can find easy explanations to some of this behavior, but that doesn't excuse it. And I still stand by my criticisms of her. And the only reason I brought up the sexism thing argument from before is because somebody else brought up sexism, and I don't think she's really that sexist. I think she's just very opportunistic about, and she.
No, I
will
think she
use her
equally
skin.
hates everybody.
Yeah, maybe she does. Yeah, but the things that she's saying about people sleeping with other people are very damaging to women, and she should know that it's much more damaging to a woman than it is to a man.
And especially, I'm sorry, I'll let you finish, but especially bringing it into somebody like Destiny, who it can very easily be true. Like, you can't just say those things about somebody who actually does sleep around, and it's like, oh, well, now you have a bunch of people wondering, is he sleeping with Madame Genevieve? Is he sleeping with Kelly Jean? Did they really say no to him? Like,
yeah,
5 minutes, then we're going to the next question.
Steven's got pretty
I got
good
something to
ethics
say.
around. Steven's got pretty good ethics around not telling who he hooks up with and stuff like that. But that her kind of saying those things, whether it's true or not, is going to hurt those female content creators in the long run. And even being tangentially associated with Steven, people will come into your chat if you're a female and be like, oh, did you hook up with him? This is before she even made those allegations. And I would say that yes, it's understandable that she's acting like somebody's backed into a corner, but she is somebody who pokes other people, and
she backs herself
into the corner. Yeah.
Okay. So she does poke other people. So in my conversations with her, I've had many, and for the more than half of them, she really got under my skin, and she would do the man hate thing, and me being so incel brained fucking set me off, fucking triggered me, sent me ablaze. And you know what? I've grown because of that, and I realized, and talking to her, like, she's doing that because it gets under my skin, and she's just trying to be funny, and she just wants me to make room for that amount of tension in the conversation. And once I realized that, and I realized, like, if I just let her joke like that and I joke back, that's all she wants in a conversation. That's just how she is. I don't know.
Congratulations, Smith. You figured out a joke. Wow.
Okay. Well, that's what she's doing all the time, though.
I don't think that's her problem. I think that's you problem, Smith.
No.
I'm okay. I was fucking muted, and I want to get to something. I think it's working now.
You have 4 minutes.
That it goes into the exact same thing that I was trying to say before, and I agree with you entirely. All of this gets explained into one simple behavior: heat-seeking. This is a person who wants to have friends, wants to have connection, and is deeply scared, and I think goes into immoral behavior when she feels like people are abandoning her. Like, I don't want to fucking psychoanalyze this shit, but that's what it fucking all looks like. And the only question we can really be having, Ginger, put your fucking lips away from the goddamn filter, is whether or not she's doing it maliciously or if she needs to be taken away from that position
muted
by force.
For the past 20 minutes.
Yeah, I have restraint, digital restraint.
So
you want to talk about disconnection? You want to talk about disconnection? Your fucking camera every 10 goddamn minutes.
I think that, and that's Discord, dickhead.
I think this whole
Good to hear.
I think this whole shit show we got going on here, which could easily be framed as like either like a coping session for either side. I think this kind of stuff really feeds into her desire for attention. I think she enjoys this stuff. So honestly, she's not going to leave. She's going to stick around more just because of the fact that we're doing this. This is something that she's going to feed off of. It's going to give her energy. It's going to be more content for her and get more people flocking to her, the simps that will support her and give her the praise that she desires and the pity that she desires.
To be fair, I think there's a point in time where, like, there was probably a grace period where she comes into the scene scene, she gets a bit of vitriol, and then she's like, well, these are also the kind of people who debate like controversial topics, and so she's engaging with it a little bit deeper, more and more. But the problem is that, like, if she wanted to victimize herself early on, we could say, okay, she didn't understand how strong the scene was going to come on to her, how strong they were going to hate her, and she didn't really consent to that. There's no way she could have known ahead of time how passionate Destiny's audience is. The problem is, at this point, she's like feeding into that. She's begging for people to hate her because it gets her attention. Like, I at this point, I don't think that I'm gonna sit there and pretend like she's a victim in any form, because she's kind of surpassed that. She's beyond
And
that
then
point.
in the narrative that she's lonely or that she wants friends, stop hating on everybody. Then that's not how you make friends. You learn that in preschool. Like you don't lie on people to make friends.
This is something I don't understand. If somebody is doing something because they want attention, whether you agree with it or not, and if like half the things that people are saying here are true, then like if somebody wants attention, then and they're doing like bad things for attention, then maybe talk to them and give them some fucking attention in a way that's not going to cause so many fucking problems for them, if that's actually the thing that you care about.
No, it's not our job to like or be
it's-
considerate to other people.
Yeah,
Well, I'm saying if this is an issue that you have and you want her to stop, if you don't care or whatever, sure, you're right, it's not your job. But if you're gonna bitch and moan about it and all that, and you care this much about it, like, you could put an end to it then. If she just wants attention, you give her attention that isn't a part of all this bullshit. I'm just saying, like, it follows if that's what you think and if that's what you actually care about.
All right, Drazi got the closing
Elder
statement on this one.
Drazi,
Next
oh,
question.
Can I
Go ahead.
just
Yes,
say
Carl.
one thing? I'm so sorry, Elder
don't know.
Drazi. I
Yeah.
would say what you're saying is great, but as somebody who tried to be kind to Lav for months, who she was an absolute cunt to, I can tell you it did not work when I tried to be incredibly nice to her. So
Yeah,
that's
me
all I'm
too.
gonna say. Yeah.
Me
All right,
too.
there we go. All right, that was it. Okay, now for the next question, a big one. Is Mr. Girl an abuser or an emotional manipulator and abusive to his friends? Kind of both at the same time.
Is a fucking setup for me or what?
Or is he a really good guy? Is he just a really good, kind-hearted guy? Drazi, how about you go first? How about you go first? Do you want to speak up? You go first.
So I think it's really hard to look at all the shit that happens online and the things that were shown in his videos. If you want to talk about on stream, I don't think I've ever seen anything on stream that would demonstrate him as an abuser. I think he deliberately presents himself in provocative ways that makes you ask the question, is this abuse? I have talked to people who work in the psych field. I've talked to people who work in things like consent and responding to people, like being like first on the scene when people are physically and or sexually abused. I have not had any of these people say, yes, I think this is abusive. There's a lot of context that we don't get in these interactions that we see Mr. Girl in, and I think it makes it extremely difficult to call any of it abuse. I absolutely 100% side with Stardust and say that sometimes he can be a fucking asshole. Which is not the same thing as being abusive. And I think that if you say that Mr. Girl is abusive, I think that there is, you'll have a difficult time explaining to me how he's been abusive towards people, and we're not going to call a bunch of other content creators abusive for their behaviors. So I guess I'm just sort of ready, if somebody is going to make that claim, to interject and say, okay, how are other people not doing the same sort of thing here, and explain how that's not abusive then.
Mr. Girl has abusive tendencies, but he's not.
Shut up,
necessarily
Judah!
abusive.
Shut.
What?
Shut.
Excuse me?
I said,
Am I
shut the
speaking out
fuck
of
up, you
turn?
little fucking little. Yeah, you are. Shut your fucking mouth, oh bitch.
Call me next.
Okay.
Ginger.
No, I don't think he's abusive. I think he's manipulative, and he uses that to help him grow and help him do other shit. I do think that he's pretty manipulative towards his friends and the people around him. However, that's if they've been told that and they, you know, I don't see anything wrong with that as long as they're adults. You know, if you're being manipulated, there's only so many times you can be manipulated without me thinking like, okay, that's kind of on you. No, I do not think he's abusive. I don't think he's a pedophile. I don't think any of that thing. I think he's kind of gross, and I think that he has a firm handle on his own limitations, but doesn't care about anybody else's.
All right, sick.
I think it's pretty clear from this entire engagement that Eldrazi and Smith have been emotionally manipulated. I do not think they've been abused. I will say, I've never seen Mr. Girl and Jimmy inside the same room. I don't even know if Jimmy exists. Other than that, I'd say he's definitely abusive to everybody else.
I have talked to Jimmy outside of Mr. Girl offline.
I'm so glad Jimmy got brought up.
All right, Stardust, take it away.
Can you skip me?
Sure, I can skip you. Somebody online.
Yeah, Mr. Girl, man, oh man. I definitely think that he is an abuser. I've had a couple of conversations with him on the subject of consensual abuse and whether or not he thinks it's a thing, and he refuses to acknowledge it. He's abused a number of people in his community. I mean, frickin' he abused the fuck out of Sick. He abused the fuck out of Stardust. He abused the fuck out of Eldrazi. I think he's abused Smith. I know he's abused Lav. He's abused Destiny. He's been pretty rough and tough with a lot of people, and that isn't even to talk about his frickin' girlfriend, because it's pretty disgusting. But whether or not that's okay and whether or not the community is cool with that, that's a different question that we can ask, because the community seems to tolerate a fuck of a lot of shit from content creators as far as weird and fucked up behavior, because it's content and we want to watch the Jerry Springer show. But it is what it is. Is he a dangerous individual that I wouldn't recommend anybody around here getting into bed with? That includes anybody in chat? Definitely. Is it anything bad that he needs to be put in jail for or sued or, taken off of the platform? No, not necessarily. And shame on Big Tech for doing what he did, because frankly, it was out of line. But is he abusive? Is he not necessarily good for the people that he interacts with? I definitely say that's the truth.
Smith.
I think that by his own definition, Mr. Girl's definition of abuse, that I'm assuming is going forth with the article about Destiny. I think that to say that Mr. Girl is not abusive would be, and I think this is really important. I think you can't say he's not abusive. And I think that if you think he's abusive, I would love if someone were to make got transcripts or whatever and things that you think he's done and said. And I'll have a conversation with you, and I'd love to go in depth about the ways you think he's abusive. I don't think he's particularly abusive. I think that he is kind of manipulative in his communication style, because he likes to he likes to really fight for his space, and he doesn't like to give up any of his own space in the conversation. And to be able to contend with that means you have to also be really willing to stand for your own space too. But that in itself teaches people to stand up for themselves in a conversation, so that's also kind of cool. But also, if you're not prepared for that, it's gonna be scary and it's gonna be manipulative. But yeah, I think that he is abusive or manipulative in these ways. I just don't think it's to an extreme extent. I think we all are too.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah, no, I agree with Zonia's wow. The fucking no, if the definition of abuse, if you're gonna say that he's abusive, but then you end it by saying everybody's abusive, then your answer.
Wait. Can I clarify?
Your answer is no,
Can
right?
I clarify?
Sure, go for it.
I don't mean
words.
Everybody's abusive. I mean everybody's abusive sometimes, not everybody's all constantly a low level of abuse. I mean everybody does some kind of abusive behavior sometimes. It's just some people do it all the time. So I think that if you can show a pattern of abusive behavior that he's doing.
I'm sorry, is
we
this
get
opening
transcripts-
statement time?
What?
No, it wasn't. But Tuna allowed it, so it's his.
I'm allowing it for a moment. Hey, I'll go ahead and interrupt it now since we're getting all fucking bored. I don't think that Mr. Girl is abusive, but my standards for abuse apparently are higher. Everybody here is walking around with their pants full of shit. It feels like clipped in the front with a goddamn paper clip. Sorry. Don't, yeah, you included, Drazi. I haven't seen you stand up for fucking 17 hours. I know you shit more often than that. No, What has he
What
fucking
diapers
done?
are
Are we
for.
talking about emotional
poop a lot.
manipulation, abuse? I think that he has abusive tendencies, and he purposely seeks out relationships where he's able to do those things with people that are okay with it. I don't think it's abuse to beat a woman. I don't think that it's abuse to call somebody a sniveling dweeb. I don't think that it's abuse to do anything unless the person is not okay with it. It's not abuse unless a person is not okay with that use. So when we watch shit like the fucking doll review, we can see her cry, we can see the framing, and then we fundamentally don't know what's happening outside of that context. Only Shaylin knows on that shit. So when people are talking about whether or not he's a fucking abuser from that source material, whatever. If you think that he's an abuser because he's treated you in ways in conversation, or he's shared information, or the way that he's engaging with Destiny with the fucking thing, I would say grow a thicker skin, and you haven't been abused.
Can't you say the
No, I
same
want to
thing
feel
to
the
Lav?
love. I want to feel the love with this one. Go ahead.
Wait,
What was the question?
Who's
Wait, is there anybody else
You,
left to give it a-
Zonia, you. I want to feel
Okay.
love with you.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So, is he an abuser or whatever? Okay. I'm kind of with Tuna Chip that it's hard to say if he's an abuser, but he has absolutely abused certain people, particularly I would say Steven in this case. Like what I've witnessed was absolutely emotional abuse by Max towards Steven, talking about how Steven needed to take care of his emotions and that he loved Steven. And there was like this really weird shit that was going on. It was very emotionally abusive. And the way Steven describes that Max basically chipped away at his boundaries over time to get him to open up more to having a closer relationship with Max absolutely sounded like emotional abuse, sounded manipulative as hell. I would say, yes, he was absolutely abusive to Steven. He was extremely manipulative, and I would say also somewhat abusive to Stardust as well, which is the whole reason why I distanced myself from Max in the first place. And so those are two instances of him both being very emotionally manipulative and what I would argue abusive, especially in the case of his relationship with Steven. Whether or not this is like a pattern of behavior, I don't really have the ability to judge that because I can't see enough into his personal life to see the pattern. 2 is not a pattern, right? So does his relationship with Shaylin and what we've seen so far in videos seem like abusive from the outside? Sure, but I don't know how much of that is like played up for the content, right? So I can't judge based on that. What I will say is this. Max has definitely demonstrated himself to be a very cunning, manipulative person. And that, I think, is something enough to be completely wary of and be on guard about at all times. It's something that everybody needs to be aware of. So whether or not that like makes him some kind of like evil person or something, that's not my pay grade, right? So that's someone else's pay grade. Like, you know, whoever his god is, if he has one. So I would just say he's shown himself to have a pattern of manipulation and be very cunning, and everybody should be acutely aware of that and be on guard with him at all times and not trust him, I would say.
Floor is open.
Yeah, I just want to point out, Smith, your whole argument about like everybody's abusive to some degree. I mean, it's meaningless. It's kind of like when we say, well, everybody manipulates each other. But when we're talking about manipulation, we're really talking about it in the context of it being a maladaptive behavior or antisocial behavior. No, behavior in general. It doesn't have to be a pattern. It doesn't have to be a pattern for us to say that this is the type of abuse that we're talking about, or this is the type of manipulation we're talking about. Okay,
and something that disproportionately affects people too. That's the most important thing.
Yeah. And I also want to say, Zonia, you were saying, I don't know about enough about Max and Shaylin's relationship to know that he's abusive, 1 or 2 times. That's not really a pattern at that point. I will say Shaylin had admitted to Chud in her interview with him that when they did the Real Doll review, she was earnest in her not giving consent or saying to Mr. Girl explicitly that I do not want this to be put on Pornhub. I do not want it put in YouTube. And Mr. Girl, I can't remember what his response was, but I will say she said after the fact that she gave consent for that to be uploaded. And I will say based on that, Yeah, I will say based on that, that definitely she did not give consent for that to be uploaded. I do not know any other scenario in which we would allow somebody to retroactively give consent. It's the same reason I would say people are not allowed to consent to their own child porn being out there.
Well, I
think
will
you
say
absolutely
this in
can give
respect to
retroactive. It's your property.
I will say
It's your
I will
property.
say this in respect to Smeth's answer, is that Smith, I really want to know when you're running for office and what party, because that's the kind of non-answer that politicians give, and that was just fucking spectacular.
Thank you.
That was right up there with like Hillary Clinton's kinds of non-answers.
Thank you. I appreciate
Wait,
that.
I don't understand the you can't give consent retroactively. So like that's not what happened in that video. What happened is she said
That's
I don't want
exactly
this to
what
be
she admitted
wait,
to in her interview with Chud. I just want to point that out. That's exactly what she described.
Well, I can disagree with her then. If you say I don't want
How are you
want
gonna
this to be in
disagree
the
with
video,
victim?
hang on. I can disagree with whoever I want. Anybody
Yeah, you
can be
can.
wrong. Well, okay. Well, this
can
is how
disagree
I'm.
with her.
I'm trying. If you want to know how, you can let me do it, and then you can see it demonstrated live in real time.
All right, let's hear the stupidity. Come on.
Okay. Well, if you keep talking, we can, or I can tell you how I'm going to disagree with the victim. She says, "I don't want this to be in the video." Okay. So what she's consenting to is a future event that has not taken place yet. And then when before the video comes out, if she says, "I'm okay with this being in the video," this is her consenting to something that has not happened yet. You can change your mind about something in that way. You can't say, "I don't want this to happen to me," and then have it happen to you, and then go, "Okay, I want this to happen to me."
No. Okay, it's not like she just decided to change her mind afterwards. This
My
is
God.
after a long litigation of this scenario with Mr. Girl. She described talking about this with him and them having a long conversation, and then afterwards she decided, okay, fine, I'm okay with it being in the video. I would say
that's not the
everything.
same
I would say everything up until the point she said, "I don't want this to be in the video," is totally fine. Maybe that's just me. I just tend to have respect for people. If they ask me if I'm recording, if they ask me, "Hey, I don't want this out in the public," I will specifically do that unless they're bringing the elements of that conversation into the public.
Sick, I'll agree with you to a certain extent, but you gotta bring it back a bit then, because this is not about retroactive consent and whether or not retroactive consent matters here. This is about whether or not it was okay for Mr. Girl to go to her and try and talk her into changing her mind. If you think that he's not allowed to, or you think the method
No, but
for
it
which
is
he
about the
did-
consent. I think no matter if he did that in an abusive way, manipulative way, or otherwise, I would say there is no other scenario in which we would decide that it is okay. You can retroactively remove your consent or give it.
Okay,
you
so
absolutely
there's,
can.
there's
You
actually
absolutely can,
there's-
because
there's
it's not
actually-
retroactive.
there's
Elder
actually
Johnson made a fucking great point here. She consented to the interview, and then she, while she was doing it, said, "I'm not going to consent towards this being released." The release has not happened. Then before the release, she consents to it. So that means that it's not retroactive. Don't fucking throw that back.
I'm
If it was a
wait.
video of her being raped as a child, then yes, we wouldn't be okay with it, because we're talking about whether or not the rape was consented to. But she
Let me bring you to a Brazzers video, okay? Let me bring you to a Brazzers video, okay? Brazzers, a porn company, makes a porn video with a porn star, and that porn star shoots the video and then consents to all of the actions. Do you think that because she afterwards, let's say there was no contract, afterwards she's like, "Actually, I don't want you to upload this"? No, they took that entire video under the guise that she was giving her consent, and now she just feels a little bit upset about it. I would say, porn star, suck a dick, go get fucked. I do not care. That is my principle. You don't get to retroactively give or take away your consent.
Here, though. Shaylin is the porn star in this analogy.
Yes, and
what are you fucking talking about?
In the porn video with Shaylin, she is in the middle of an interview saying, "Anything beyond this point, I don't want to be in the video," and yet we see it in the video, and everybody was in a riot about whether or not it was abusive or manipulative for it to be included. Shaylin admits nobody else saw the conversation afterwards. So if you person are okay with retroactive, wait, if me and you on principle are disagreeing on the fact of whether or not somebody can give retroactive consent or retroactive retroactively take it away. That's fine. I can agree that I disagree with you. But then we also have to contend with the fact that Mr. Girl and Shaylin were acting so confused about why people were saying she was being emotionally manipulated or abused, or that it was wrong for Mr. Girl to include this in the video in the first place.
No, that was bait. I will agree with you 100%. I think that it was dishonest when they were pretending that that they didn't understand what people's discomfort was. That's performative on their part to fucking boost the thing. It's a purposely hostile engagement with the audience to try and provoke clicks. Because I wasn't going to watch the video until I saw that it was a controversy, right? I'm not going on Pornhub looking for fucking Max's dick. I've got better dicks to look at. But what I'm saying is, when you're watching that video, you can turn on parts of your brain that don't belong to lizards for a moment and recognize that while in the moment she said, I don't want this to be shown, between that event and then him hitting upload, she then has said, actually, that's fine.
Yes.
Did he release the video before she consented?
This is what we're calling.
No.
Okay.
No.
All right. So
she consented
here.
and then he released it.
There is something that is on the record that you all are kind of overlooking. During when Doobie co-hosted the hotline with Max, one of the things I brought up to him was all the people speculating on whether or not Max was abusive to his partner. And we got into a conversation, and one of the things that we talked about is he said that, he and Shaylin actually have an agreement that they get to dictate the terms of each other's, the other person doesn't get to dictate the terms of the other person's art. So they have full autonomy in what to do with their art. So what matters is whether or not the person actually brings themselves into the art. So Shaylin showing up and agreeing to be on camera with them is consent enough, because once she's agreed to be on camera with him, it's up to him. He gets to choose whether or not he releases it, and she doesn't get the ability to revoke consent in that. Say likewise with her artwork. If he agrees beforehand to be in her artwork, if he doesn't like the outcome, he doesn't get the ability to retroactively say, no, please don't release it. Like, he could say it, but she doesn't have to honor it. And that's sort of like the contract that they have with each other's artwork.
Yeah, I would say that this is the same thing as like sex inside of Islam or many other religions, is that by being married, you are consenting to give me sex, and you will understand that that is the agreement that we're in. So if you say no or you retract it later on, I'm still allowed to fuck you, and I would say that that is a bullshit proposal.
Right. Yeah, but what you're
I would
saying,
say in the
is
case of bodily autonomy, absolutely.
Yeah, but what
in
you're
the case
saying,
of, like,
I don't give a
depicting
fuck about
artwork, no.
bodily autonomy.
No, but what you're saying,
the
that doesn't make sense.
The consent aspect supersedes that, in my opinion.
Yeah, but what you're saying doesn't make sense is the same argument that doesn't make sense with the calling Mr. Girl an abuser in this case, because what you're saying is proactive consent does not mean in the future you always consent, which also is the same case of proactive non-consent does not mean always in the future you won't consent. It's the same thing.
Right, but we
She changed her
have,
mind.
You're also basically.
We have documentation of her taking away her consent, and then we know from Shaylin that she was talked into giving it back afterwards.
You say talked into.
Then
You say talked into. That's your
on
words.
if it's okay to fucking try and convince her. That's the real fucking conversation.
This is why we don't. I'm sorry, Zonia. 1 second. I'm just saying this is why, on principle, for many situations, we don't allow retroactive withdrawal or giving of consent, is because people can be convinced of things after the fact, even though we know within the moment that what they went through, they did or did not consent to. You're allowed to have regrets. That doesn't mean your regrets are allowed to dictate other people's
She wasn't not
lives.
consenting to having the conversation, so this is bullshit. What she was not consenting to was the publication of the video. And she did consent when it was published. We're not talking about the conversation. We're talking about the publication of the video. She always consented to the conversation.
Six argument is because I talked about how Max talked about their prearranged agreement on each other's artwork, that effectively they're preemptively consenting if you just put yourself into the artwork. So if she goes and talks to him on camera, he gets the choice of whether or not to release it. She doesn't have the ability to revoke that, right? So now what I'll say, Six, is I agree with what you're arguing, but what you're basically saying is that they're both engaged in a mutually abusive relationship then. So yeah, is that kind of fucked up and wrong? Sure. But
on its face, it's manipulative, in my opinion.
But yeah, so they're both probably in like a weird mutually abusive relationship. Maybe Max probably has a little more power in that abuse than she does, I would argue, considering that he can put her on camera and he has a lot of attention drawn toward his videos. But yeah, I don't know. It's one of those things where with two adults, consenting to that abusive relationship, it's weird and fucked up, but there's not a lot that you can argue against there other than, okay, you're both being fucking retards, but that's
Okay,
not really
well,
a good
I just
argument.
want to say nobody on this panel, if they're defending Mr. Girl, is allowed to vouch for victims of Islamic or Indian marriages at all.
No, I disagree. I disagree.
I don't care.
Sick.
So
I'm
it-
telling you right now. Sick. I'm telling you right now. I want you to recognize why the retroactive consent is not retractable in some instances, and when it is. Like if you, okay, I'm gonna try and make a charitable situation here. If me and you are making a video together, we're doing this. We know that we are making the video together. We have common understanding. Midway through the video, let's say we're filming Jackass. I've got your balls on a table and I hit him with a fucking rake. And then you're like, wait a second, the
Jesus.
blood's spurting out. I'm in a lot of pain. Fuck you. You're very emotionally charged and you're saying, I don't want this to be in the fucking Jackass video. You can't put this in our skateboarding compilation. And then later we have a conversation. You feel like you're in a more level head and you say, you know what? I was being emotional at the time. I actually think that that's good content. And I care enough about the content that even though it's very intimate and personal, fucking put it out there. I was speaking from emotion back then. In that circumstance, we would say that that is definitely a situation where then the person is able to then be like, oh, you know what? Yes, you can retroact it. The only thing we don't know about this versus this fucking goddamn doll vid is whether or not the conversation between Mr. Girl and Shaylin was one where he is being emotionally manipulative. Yet again, everybody on both sides, if they're being certain, is begging the question on whether or not something that happened off camera was emotionally manipulative or abusive or not. We don't know.
The only thing that would ever change my mind is knowing whether or not they live in a one-party or two-party state. In your example, skateboarding, they're out in public in America. We find that to be totally okay. I actually don't need your consent, but I would also acknowledge that you don't have their consent.
No, you literally sign consent papers when they do their work, especially when they're filming in California. So that's something they've actually shown that with like the behind the scenes footage and the extra footage from the .5 movies and such.
Wait, I don't know why we have to use such
Wait,
abstract.
I'm sorry. Presumably, the reason that they would need consent in waivers and whatnot is because there's a potential for injuries. That doesn't determine whether or not it's acceptable to film you out in public. And they probably have some agreements or contracts that lend different people money based on what's actually happening.
Well, you're being
Again,
roped into pranks as well that people can be deceived by, right? So they get the consent afterward. They do the prank and then get the consent afterward to include them. And sometimes they'll blur their faces if they don't want to be included, or if they don't want their faces in it, or they'll show them full full face and everything if they consented. So it's more about liability and dealing with being sued and such. So there's multiple angles to it.
Again, I would just stand by the principle that if that's the case, I would say that definitely prank videos, those people are probably engaging in some level of abuse because they are not getting people's proactive consent. People can disagree with that. They can not like it. I'm just saying, to me, the consent is a valuable factor. The fact that they're in a private home is a valuable factor. And I think when we're talking about two people in an interpersonal relationship where they're partners, that definitely heightens the level of respect, the base level of respect you should or I would expect you to have of each other.
Wait, why are we making all these abstract comparisons? Can I get 1 second? I've been trying to get this out for a while because this is really weird. We're talking about Jackass. We're talking about Islamic marriages. Like, if somebody sits down to an interview, if a celebrity goes on to have an interview with a reporter, and the reporter really nails them down, and they get in contact with like, this interview's fucking over. This is bullshit. I don't want this released. Does that mean that it's unethical for the person to release that then? Like, no, they agreed to have the interview. They agreed to record the questions being asked and the responses being had. And it doesn't matter if the person did or didn't like it or not. We would generally accept this as totally fine. And I don't understand how we have to make all these weird comparisons when we can just go one-to-one. This was an interview. She said, I don't like this. I don't want this to be released, which I think holds a little bit of different weight to me, I guess, but like she was ultimately okay with it.
You don't think you would value it differently that they have an agreed upon time slot versus a basically an agreement in perpetuity?
Can I put things in context here? I wasn't going to chime in on this part of the conversation, but I would like to say, it's one thing to consent to an interview. It's another thing to consent to negotiating terms of sex on camera in front of thousands of viewers. So I'm just saying.
It wasn't live though. It wasn't live. She didn't...
Yeah, it doesn't matter if it isn't live. It's still going to thousands of viewers. It's still going to thousands of viewers.
When it was, I guess the distinction is it consent to publishing it, but yeah, I think that that's similar. That's similar. What Six said kind of gets to me. What Six said kind of compels me a little bit.
I didn't speak for 30 minutes, and I didn't speak for 30 minutes, Smith, and that was the most useless thing you could have contributed to the conversation after what I spoke. So can everybody please wipe out what Smith said from his head?
Shut the fuck up. Okay. What Six said. What Six just shut the fuck up. What Sick just said, can we just wipe off that nasty ass shit stain that we just heard? Can we just get this shit stain out of my ears?
Not a Lav
What
supporter.
Sick just said was kind of convinced. Oh, here's some more shit. I hear fucking gurgling going on. Which Sick just said actually convinced me a little bit. I think that the Jackass stuff is actually is kind of abuse. And in the same way that releasing these private conversations about negotiating sex is kind of abuse. This is kind of abuse that this is what I was saying. I do actually think that we accept a level of abuse in our society. But it is abusive. That Jackass stuff, you can't say those guys aren't abused, but they consent to it because it's like it's their job, they care about the content, whatever. We're all kind of consenting to abuse by being on this panel.
Our bouncers abused.
True.
Our bouncers abused. Our cops abused.
Sure.
Yes.
That
joined the military abused.
But I have a point to make. So there's a level. So the reason that we put up with this shit is there's always a coercive element, and we need cops. So that's different. But with like being on.
I need to bend you over.
I'm
just kidding.
My goodness.
We
Just leave
people
the
on the
degeneracy
stream.
out of this
People
panel.
on the stream are here because we want to be streamers or whatever. You could make a case for it's actually worse for us to be on this fucking stream than it is good for us. And if you could make that case, I would say it's abuse.
Yeah, and Queen Alexa is abusing us right now, so I guess you just have to leave the panel.
Damn right I am.
Queen Alexa is very
soft. You're
that fucking soft. That is abuse.
No, I'm saying I want to. I'm saying it's there's a level of I'm willingly putting myself through abuse. It's like when you're saying soft. I think there's nothing wrong with being soft, but if I left the panel, that would I don't know, like we all
maybe within your right.
What the fuck?
We consent to things because of coercion. We do things we don't want to do because we're gonna get money or whatever. We smack ourselves in the balls with a rake.
Are you retarded?
Yeah, that's incentivization.
Yeah.
We smack ourselves in the ball with on our balls with a rake and get blood all over ourselves, and like ruin our fucking testicles.
Yourself,
we do that because we want to be rich and famous.
Rich and famous. No, I don't think people are getting rich and famous.
We have private conversations
from Jackass. He's still using the Jackass analogy.
We have private conversations with our partners.
I'm just
here
because
I'm
just here because I advocate for self-harm. That's why I'm here. Elder Drazi knows it. I debated him on it. I'm totally down with self-harm. I think self-harm is great.
It is self-harm to be on this panel. Yes.
So we talked a little bit about waivers.
I think we should dig into Alexa's background and see who else she's harmed.
I ain't no
bitch, God, so. No.
Yes! Wait, do it! Flip the script!
Not again.
Who have you been abusing in the past? Who else have you lured onto panels to abuse?
I know you're about to.
Mad Latin is one of them, right? Let's start asking Mad Latin.
Jesus Christ!
2 seconds. You're leaning too hard. Okay?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
I know you're gonna interject. It's fine. Stardust, what the fuck did you have to say?
Oh, I don't even remember now. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, thanks to Smeth's
Fuck you.
misogyny and talking over women on the panel. Jesus Christ.
So we talked about waivers a little bit. We talked about two-party consent and people recording things and whether or not you can release things. We're talking about the ethicality of releasing information and consent. Like, I'm real big in the First Amendment auditing scene. Anything that is done in public can be recorded, and you can record and keep anything that you want. The question becomes when you go to publish something and when you're going to start making money off of the things that you're published, you open yourself up to liability by the people that are in the video to sue you potentially for some of the capital gains that you've made as a result of the content that you've made. So if
This was
Shaylin goes,
filmed
hey,
in
I don't want to
private.
be in that video, I'm going to sue Max because he made a bunch of money off of this video, she has a right to do that. But if they're out in a park and they go and have a conversation and it is in public, they're in a one-party recording state, that's Max's video and Max can do whatever he wants with it. The only issue comes up when he potentially starts making money off the video, and the only thing that the other party might have any claim to is some of the funds that they gain from it. They don't necessarily have the right to say, hey, you can't put that on the internet because I don't want other people to see it. It was a public conversation that you had in public that was recorded in public. There is no sense of privacy in that matter at all. You can say that it's abusive. You can say that it's not kind. You can say Max shouldn't have done that because it makes him a bad dude. But none of that shit fucking matters in this context. Again,
Okay, can I just say Oregon
Dick gets
is
the
where
last
they
statement on this.
I just want to point out Oregon is where this was recorded. It was recorded in a private home. It is a two-party. It is an all-party consent state. Okay.
Okay. Easy.
Or in
All
their
right, last
case, a
question.
cringe party consent
Yeah,
state.
this
for
is the
them.
last question, and then we're done. All right, this is the big one. Will the article actually surmount to anything, or has Max lost his fucking marbles? Eldrazi, go.
It really depends on what you mean. Will it amount to anything? I think that for some people, no matter what, it could. I think I've said this before. He could literally prove that Destiny was legitimately, like, non-debatably worse than Hitler in it, and people that are against the article are just going to like cope the fuck out of it no matter what. Or there could be literally nothing in the article whatsoever, and there will be people on Mr. Girl's side who will act like he just, like, blew the case wide the fuck open. I don't know what is or isn't going to be in it. It seems like there's an idea about what this article is about, for a lot of people that are invested in talking about it, that I don't have the understanding that the article is going to be about. However, no matter what it has in it, I can say that I am going to marathon read all 100 plus pages in one sitting when it drops on stream, because I have no respect for myself.
All right,
Or your
Smath.
viewers.
I don't really think it will amount to anything as far as Destiny is concerned, but I think it will be very useful to just have a public conversation about the abusive interpersonal and financial, the coercive dynamics between streamers of different power levels and stuff like that. I think it'll help me analyze myself and my own behavior, and I think it's just going to be a really healthy conversation in general. I don't think it really will amount to anything for Destiny. I think it might make some good content for him. But yeah, that's. I think it'll just be a really great conversation.
Go ahead, Chip.
Let me pause the fucking Tetris because I'm trying to redeem myself. I don't think the video is going to amount to anything, because I think that Max has already fucking scrubbed off the face of the internet. So any context in which somebody is watching the video is not going to be a virginal context. It's always going to be a primed context. I kind of agree with Drazi in some ways on that regard. Beyond that, is it going to do something to Max and Destiny's personal life? So that the first one, is it going to do anything to the audience? Probably not. Is it going to do any of their personal life? Probably not the video itself, but whatever results after the video, undoubtedly. I do not think that releasing a 100-page document of somebody's life is not going to create blowback when the person you're releasing it on has at least 1 million eyes on them. Whether or not that's positive or not. The number one thing, this is my suspicion, there are a lot of people that hate Destiny, and they are looking to curry favor with new people all the time. There was the stream that happened with Mr. Girl and a bunch of people that are on the left that have sort of become like scorned ex-Destiny orbiters. I think that the most likely thing that's going to happen is they're going to read that. It's going to affirm a couple of beliefs they have. People are on the other side are going to read it. It's going to affirm beliefs they have about Max being abusive and predatory with the information. And then everybody's going to go back to their normal fucking life. The only question is Max going to get sued? Is Destiny going to have relationship issues or personal issues that happen inside of his life because of it? And only time will tell on that shit.
Zonia.
I largely agree with both Smith and the guy with the pedo mustache.
Thank you.
Oh, not me. Okay, cool.
No, you have the pornographer's mustache. Keep going.
Yeah, I think it's going to provoke an interesting conversation. I think we'll possibly learn about a lot of the dynamics in the space, and of course, it'll get turned into content for a lot of people. But I don't have any way to say whether or not there's going to be anything of particular merit within the document itself. So when you talk about is it going to amount to anything, it'll surely amount to things after the fact, but whether or not there's merit to the contents of the document, I don't know. That there's no way for me to say for certain. But I don't think it matters whether or not there's merit to the document. Why? Because it's a massive fucking shit show and everybody's going to capitalize on it. And that's the thing that everybody cares about, right? As for blowback for Steven's life, I think there's probably going to be very little blowback other than that his existing haters, certain content creators that capitalized on hating on Destiny and being enemies of his, they're probably going to be able to also capitalize it on a way that they normally, don't have as much to capitalize on, right? Because it'll be a pretty large document with a whole bunch of stuff that they can spin in any number of different ways to draw more audience into their streams. So that's about the only thing I really can say for certain that we're probably going to see out of it.
Wait, well, Mr. Girl's going to get harassed.
Nope.
endlessly,
Don't
no matter
care.
what.
Stardust go. Don't care. Stardust go.
Yeah, both of these people are going to have this used against them. Mr. Girl, like Eldrazi is trying to say, Mr. Girl will probably get some flack for it, but guess what? Destiny's probably going to have all of his haters have a new arsenal of things to use against him every time they want to drive the knife in a little bit further. So there's that. I think it's spiteful. I think it's very clearly it's driven by spite. And I think that it's at the end of the day, I think if Mr. Girl is writing about all the ways that he thinks Steven is abusive, then he has double the amount of pages to write about himself.
I think that would be really cool.
He's done it before, and I wish he would get back to it. We all want to hear him say that he raped somebody again. We don't want it to happen again, but we want to hear it again.
This is actually something that I reached out to him about, because
did we completely bypass me?
I didn't go
I think
either.
that Alexa went to sleepy time, and I think that I was next in the list, and then Smith is after me.
Sorry, it just felt like it opened up. My bad.
Yeah. My apologies.
Well, can I finish one thing? Let me just say, let me tack on. I shouldn't have even said double. I mean, I think there's just infinitely more things that Mr. Girl could write about himself, tell on himself about. If he considers these dynamics with Destiny to be abusive, then he definitely creates similar dynamics with other people, if not worse. And so I don't think that there's like a whole lot of I don't think there's a whole lot of fuel here, honestly, for whatever he's writing, but we'll see what happens, I guess. So, yeah.
All right, Alexa, I'm gonna go because you're gone.
No,
So-
sick go. I'm sorry. There's a bunch of things going on.
What's happening?
Yeah, I just want to point out, even if the article was going to have any credibility, even if it was going to do anything to Destiny, I think Mr. Girl has already fucked the bucket. We know from leaks that basically what he's telling a lot of the people that he's interviewing, or most of them, if I were to assume, is that he's saying, hey, do you have any bad stories on Destiny? I already have people who are saying yada, 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 yada. Anybody would know, if you've ever watched a court case, that this is essentially just tainting your witnesses. It's tainting their testimonies. Essentially, what they're saying can't be taken at face value because you've now allowed them to feel like anything they say is going to be validated. I think it's a messy situation. I think Mr. Girl doesn't know how to do an investigation. So even if it had merit, nobody cares anymore.
I do agree with you, Sick. I said to him directly, I don't think he should be the one running this investigation. That's the worst thing that he could have possibly done with it.
So, just for context, what happened is Reservoir server has been completely taken over, and I've been watching it delete itself.
Whoa.
Fuck.
Wait, really?
Yeah. Yes. Leave Reservoir server right now. Yeah. Leave Reservoir server because they're inviting more people, more hackers are joining in, trying to take it all over.
What's it called? I'm in like a million.
Registan with a backwards moon. First thing is
I don't know,
backwards
man.
moon.
I think I would like to promote my stream to these people. So
yeah. That's what I got like sidetracked because it got.
I do have a message in my
Oh, I'm just friends with him. I'm not in his server, I guess.
I guess I'm not.
Got his ass.
He messaged me.
All right. Yeah. All right. Ginger, go ahead.
Thank you.
Can you repeat the question?
Fuck. Oh yeah. Will the article amount to anything, or has Mr. O lost his marbles?
It very well could amount to something. If he's found something on Destiny that's not previously public, then obviously there's going to be like a big hoopla about it. I think the biggest thing all is it's just going to give everybody a lot of content. Like, I mean, I plan on reading it to my audience in a dramatic reading. That's what I do. So, let's have fun with it, shall we?
Hey, most
Okay,
importantly, by the way, quick interruption. For those of you who have Reservoir in your server, and especially for those of you who have any kind of special permissions assigned to him, like creator permissions or whatever, kick him out of your server.
Yeah, and Zonia, you need to demod Yamato again. His account is still compromised.
Again? Oh my gosh.
Again. His account is still compromised.
I was going to say, Yamato sending that fucking link out.
Yes, Yamato was the first person that happened here. He was in VC with us, and he was like, something weird's fucking happened. And we're like, what the fuck are you talking about? He's like, oh, I got hacked. I was like, are you retarded?
Wait, are we blocking? Or are we deleting? Or what are we doing with Yamato?
I remember I banned him from my server.
IRL.
So I banned him from my server. So
yeah, we're just banning.
Yeah, do a ban for now. You can unban him later. You don't want to do a kick because he can get an invite back in, right? So, and if you got anything with sticky rolls, they're gonna re-get all those rolls if they come back in.
Okay.
And now somebody online.
Yeah, so will this amount to anything? I think that it's going to amount to about the same thing that the Dr. K manifesto that he did amounted to, which is there's going to be a bunch of people that watch it, a bunch of people are going to read it, everybody's going to kind of go, whoa, Destiny is going to continue being Destiny, everything is going to be exactly the way that it always was for him. Yeah, he might get a little bit of flack from people that are already giving him flack. Mr. Girl, unfortunately, has kind of put himself into a position where the only people that watch him, that pay attention to him, are people that already agree with him. There are going to be more people that watch this, mostly to try to see the fireworks go on because Destiny is the target of this thing. But again, there's not going to be any criminal charges that come as a result of this. Destiny isn't going to lose any platforms that he's on as a result of this. And Mr. Girl is just going to look like Mr. Girl at the end of it all.
Floor open. What'd you say, Alexa?
Floor's open.
Floor open.
Floor's open.
Oh, floor is
Real
open.
interesting question, Alexa. Nobody fucking disagrees. We want to move on?
Floor's open.
Well, does everybody like I assume that a lot of people here don't give a shit, but Mr. Girl's gonna get an obscene amount of harassment. Like we've already seen some pretty malicious things happen. Like I think it's pretty public now that there was a dox. And like lots of threats and things like that. I think that's going to ramp up a whole lot.
Dude,
which I'm personally worried
but
about.
that's all self-inflicted. Like,
that's the
gonna
thing.
get a lot too.
I don't care anybody. I don't care if anybody does anything that people think earns them that kind of treatment, I'm still concerned about it. I still think that it's fucked up. I'm never
Sure.
gonna see that somebody pissed a bunch of people off and go, well, they brought it on themselves. I don't care about that.
Sure, like we do. Obviously, it sucks. It's shitty. These should not be the kinds of consequences. Like one of the things I learned yesterday is that they're actually on Kiwi Farms. They're creating a dedicated thread for Lav right now, and multiple of us have gotten the info on that. So and that's shitty. That's really, really shitty. That shouldn't be the case. It sucks to be A-logged. It sucks to have people just stalking you constantly and lolcowing you and everything. That really, really sucks. But also, it's the same kind of thing. You go into a certain environment, you got to be kind of aware of what you're going into. You know, when you go and if you go and visit somebody at a prison, or you go there to like do a tour or a documentary or something, you know what happens? You basically sign your life away going into that environment. You say, shit, these are the conditions of the environment. These are the risks. These are hardened criminals. This is the kind of behavior you can expect from them. We can't make any guarantees. And if you're taken as hostage, we may have to shoot through you. Right? Those are the things that you are informed of when you're going into the environment. Now, we don't really have like an organized way of informing people when they come into this internet environment. It's sort of like a general thing that you become exposed to over time as you grow up with internet access. So I don't think that they were unaware of the conditions of the environment and the risks of it, and the risks of like the kind of behavior that they engage in. But considering the age at which that they are entering into this space, both of them, neither of them should be granted like naivety in this. They should have been aware, yeah, these are the conditions of the environment that you're going into and doing some crazy shit in. And unfortunately, the backlash you're going to get is going to be disproportionate. That sucks. It's shitty. It'd be nice for us to kind of change that culture, but I don't even know how to begin to change that culture.
I think we can just kind of. I think we can do it our own. As we can set standards for our own behavior, and we can lead by example. If Destiny,
Naruto moment,
if
like
Destiny,
do it.
If Destiny was receptive to some fucking criticism, then maybe he could set an example. But that's not gonna
hold
fucking
on.
happen.
He actually, dude, the dude banned to all talk of Lav for a long time, and Max, right?
Yep.
Banned it from the subreddit, banned it from his community.
He's gone on to Max's subreddit to talk shit about him, signaling to all of his fucking fans, if you want to talk shit about Max, go to his fucking subreddit. That's where you can do it, baby.
That's where it's supposed to be, right? It shouldn't be.
Let's take all our toxicity from our massive community. Let's ban it from our community and make sure you go to his community with it. That's how it's supposed to be. What the fuck is that?
Well, he doesn't. Well, that is all talk of it, right?
Yeah, he banned all talk of it from his incubated space, right? So you're not allowed to form like a little hate posse in his community.
Standards are fucking different. That's Mr.
Well, he revoked the ban. He revoked the ban over the last several days because of the whole fallout.
He banned people saying it in one direction. He banned people talking about Mr. Girl if it's favorable to Mr. Girl.
No. It was all talk was banned. It was pinned in his fucking subreddit and was banned across all of his spaces.
Well, maybe at a certain point, but there was a time where I talked to Destiny himself about this. I have a video about it where he admits to this, that it was okay for people to talk shit about Mr. Girl, but it wasn't okay for people to talk positively about him. That was a big problem that Benny and I had with him, and we talked to him about it.
That is a big misrepresentation of that situation. The whole point that Destiny was making when he was talking about that is it's schizo defenders and attackers of Destiny and Mr. Girl. It had nothing to do with what they were criticizing. It had everything to do with the type of person levying the criticism. Is that if you're just some schizo chatter who's writing a 500-page post that is incoherent, it doesn't have anything to do with what they're actually trying to criticize, he's gonna fucking ban you because you're not adding to the quality of the subreddit at all.
What you just said sounds like it makes sense, but it doesn't. I don't think you said anything.
I will say, for people who want to say that in Destiny's chat, you can talk shit about Mr. Girl. Sure, you certainly can't link to a subreddit. How do I know that? Because I linked Smeth's thread in Destiny's chat, and I got banned for it. I have to wait till tomorrow. Tomorrow, rip me. I have to wait 24 hours before I can talk about Mr. Girl in Destiny's chat again.
True oppression.
Somebody in my chat said I was wrong about it too, but if I'm wrong about it, then that's on Destiny, because he he admitted as much to us. Then if we were wrong, then Destiny was also wrong about it as well. I talked to him about it.
So all I know is that until a few days ago, it was pinned in the subreddit that you can't talk about, you can't do any posts about Max or Lav, and there were people who were getting banned from DGG chat for like memeing on, or or making comments about that shit, or drama baiting, basically.
I didn't know you
trying to
meant
post stuff
recently.
to Max.
I'm
So
talking about back in November.
Yeah, I don't remember the conditions that were set at the time. I wasn't paying close attention to what like the state of the situation was in his community, but he revoked it in the last few days because of the whole big drama with Lav that happened on the Tuna Chip hangout, right? So then it got revoked. It was no longer in the subreddit pin there anymore, and the rules had changed. Now you could freely talk about Lav and Max because it was peak drama. So may as well just let people do their talking. Now, what I would push back on Smith about is that I don't know about Steven like instructing his audience to go over to Max's subreddit, but Max's subreddit is there for both positive statements as well as general discourse and for critique. So yes, if you're going to be critiquing Max, his subreddit is absolutely the place to go if you're going to do like a general critique, or his hotline if you want to talk to him directly or something.
Sure.
Right?
I could be mistaken, but I think Smith's saying it's different if you say it than if Destiny's saying it when it's going on.
I don't know what Destiny said at the
I don't know.
time.
I don't think Destiny told his fans to do it. I think Destiny went on to Mr. Girl's subreddit to talk about that shit and do fucking drama and shit, which signals to while Mr. Girl is banned from his own subreddit, which signals to all of them that if they want to talk shit, they can go there.
I don't know. Like, I figure if I wanted to go and post, like I did this with Vosh years ago, I posted a long critique, a lengthy critique on Vosh in his own subreddit, and I was a big fan of Vosh. I was actually one of his pretty well-known subscribers and such, right? And regular viewer. So it just kind of makes sense to do that kind of thing.
Yeah. I feel like if I post a lengthy critique of Destiny in Destiny's subreddit, I'll get banned.
No, I've seen plenty of people do it. I've seen him read through them before. Now, sometimes if he feels that they're bad faith, yeah, he bans them. But overall, most of the ones I've seen him read off, he'll be like, I don't really agree with this, but whatever, and he'll just move on.
If that's true, I would be very... I would change my opinion entirely if that was true.
I think that you can disagree with Destiny for the most part in his subreddit.
Yeah, you can.
All right, look, we've been going for 2.5 hours. I feel like this has it's lived its life. All right, this was the first ever love panel. Went pretty well,
I felt a lot of love here, especially
I feel any love. I'm very disappointed by the way that this entire thing went. I'm disgusted at all of you people. I thought that we were here to give good faith takes of what we actually feel about Mr. Girl and Lav in this situation. I thought we were trying to help people, and frankly, I feel like you guys all came in here and just smeared shit all over the fucking walls. This has been terrible. I'm pissed off at all of you people, and I don't know if I'm going to be talking to any of you again until at least tomorrow.
Look, I'd like to say something. So this is a love panel. Hey, Smith, I said some pretty cutting things. I'm sorry. I was a little heated.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
But I actually do have respect for what you do content-wise. One of the things I told Katie when she was asking me about you, I was like, honestly, he's come into his own. I think originally, and this is why I told her, you did have a lot of Max's talking points and kind of frame of arguing and such, but you've evolved a lot since then. And honestly, I think that you've come into your own and created sort of your own way of viewing things and arguing for them. And I really appreciate that. So I was kind of leaning on an old meme to make some cutting insults toward you.
Hello.
Hi.
We're all here.
Hey y'all.
Hello.
Hi.
Were y'all saying hi?
I think we lost one.
Hello. Oh, I accidentally flipped my volume down. I'm sorry.
Okay.
But yeah, thank you. Sorry about that.
All right. Well, closing statements. What you thought about the love panel, and then shout yourself out. Thank you all for coming. So we'll start with Zonia.
Yo, you may know me from scenes like yelling with Mr. Girl, clashing with Mr. Girl, transel culture with Mr. Girl, blackface with Mr. Girl. Yeah, a lot of you know me from Mr. Girl's community from way back because I was one of the early people to kind of find a little bit of a kinship with him and to advocate for him. And I really enjoyed that history that we had. I thought that was pretty cool. It was an interesting thing to sort of grow with him through. But at a certain point, I kind of have to draw the line and say, you know what? I can't deal with this. This is unethical. This is abusive. This is manipulative, etc. And so I had to draw those lines in the sand. And I think at this point, I've just kind of decided to sever ties entirely because of certain things that I've seen and certain almost malicious seeming behaviors that make me really go like, yikes, this is bad. I don't want anything to do with this person. So you're hearing a lot more from me right now than you heard over previous months about my views of Max, just because I feel like I really need to say something and really kind of open up about what I've been feeling with the whole situation. I really liked Max. I liked him a lot. And I kind of still do in some ways. There's a part of me that feels like, man, I wish he would just sort of, like, things could go back to the way they were months ago. But that's not going to happen. And unfortunately, there's been some damage that's done, and I don't think these are ever going to get repaired. But yeah, so that's sort of my position. If you choose to continue supporting Max, that's fine. More power to you. Just try to keep your eyes open when you are. Otherwise, I am Zonia. My channel on Twitch is Zonia Dead, or on YouTube it's Zonia TV. And you can also see me on Twitter with some spicy takes and some feuding with Lav at Void Zonia.
And then the tweets get deleted. All right, Tuna Chip.
Hello. Final statements. I'm gonna say, I think that we've been talking about Lav and Mr. Girl like they're these super interesting case studies. I don't think that there's anything particularly unique about them. I do think that there are critiques that can be made. So whenever it comes down to it, when we're fucking looking at these people, you can be really simple about those critiques. Lav is avoidant and lonely and seems to have some like fucking BPD ass behaviors. Mr. Girl has the same shit, and these are emotional people. These are just like fucking emotional people, and we don't like the way that they're engaging in the space. That's it. That doesn't mean you have to hate people. So yeah, you can love people and share love and human dignity on the level where you're like, damn. Don't fucking engage with people if they're doing something that you think is self-destructive and destructive to those around them. That's it.
Smith.
I am Smith. You can find me on YouTube at Real Smith. One word, Real Smith. I recently made a video about my experience with AGP and not transitioning, and how anybody can have a healthy, productive, and sexy relationship to autogynephilia.
Fucking degenerate. Oh my god.
You can
I
watch
shame
my streams. I do interviews and conversations, and you check me out. I'm also on Twitter, Real Smith, The Real Smith. Just look for Smith. When you find Smith, you get a dose of fucking Smethadone.
All right, somebody online, my interview partner.
Hey, Queen Alexa, thank you very much for putting this whole thing together. I kind of had like a silly little idea that, hey, we should have this conversation about this thing, again, to try to help people and try to bring all of the people that have, the most concern and weight in these topics together and try to get to the bottom of this. Unfortunately, I don't know if we had, some of the compassion that I was really hoping for and that I was looking for in this thing. But, this has been a very fruitful conversation. I think a lot of things have been aired out and said that we needed to have said. I really wish that Mr. Girl or Lav or Destiny would have had the cojones to come on here and actually come and contribute to some of this at some point. But, you can't expect people like that to want to be involved in a thing like this. I am somebody online. You guys can find me here. You can find me in the Political Shit Show. I have my own Discord where I do my BOEM dialogues where we try to come to mutual understandings with one another and try to actually share good information and learn about other people's perspectives. So come and find me there. Come and find my stream. Come and be a part of the interview process. If you think there's somebody that I need to talk to or something that we're not talking about on here, please let me know what that is, because I do want to try to get down to the heart and the meat of some of these issues with your help, of course.
This was somebody's idea, so a round of applause to him. He did give me this idea. So go follow somebody online. Stardust.
Hey, I'm Stardust. You can find me twitch.tv/Stardust, youtube.com/Stardust streams. I'm on Twitter at tweets from Star. I am somebody who was very close and very I had a very close friendship with Mr. Girl. One that I've never had. I don't think I've had with any other streamer prior to him. And I really valued that friendship. I stuck my neck out for him a lot. I was maybe one of the first people in the space to give him a chance to humanize him on my stream, and I caught a lot of shit for it. I caught a lot of shit for it from everybody, virtually everybody across every political leaning.
Even your mods.
Even my mods, right? There were even people who cut off all contact from me when I stuck my neck out and became a friend to him. And I went through a lot of shit for him. I put myself through a lot of beatings for him in a really public manner. And I don't think he ever appreciated that. I don't think he ever will. I think that he is very manipulative, and I think he I think he wants to get what he can get out of you, whether that's a reaction, whether that's like a something specific for content, or whether that's something else. He wants to get what he wants to get out of you, and he will go through any means possible to get that out of you. And if he hurts you in the process, he doesn't give a fuck. And then if you try to tell him that you don't feel the way that he thinks you feel, he won't listen to you. That's what I would say. Him writing this article is spite driven, and it's sad to see, because he could be making much more meaningful content. He has made better content in the past, and I think that he's wasting his time with this. And if he's going to call out Destiny for having an abusive dynamic, I think he should look in the mirror and look at the dynamics that he has with other people. And I think that's the rest of what I had to say about him. I will say that I am doing a deep dive into Gamergate right now, and I will be interviewing Brianna Wu on Friday about it. And then starting next week, we'll be doing deep dives into Nikocado Avocado. So come check me out. Thanks.
And Sick.
Yeah. Okay. First of all, I just want to say, Mr. Girl mod team, I'm still waiting on that T-shirt. Anytime you guys want to send it, I'd be more than appreciative. Second of all, I just want to point out, if you're getting a message from Reservoir saying that he's developing a game and he wants you to click a link, absolutely click that link. I can co-sign everything that's going on.
Shut up, Sick.
If you get that message from anybody, if you get that message from anybody,
these are my closing statements. You guys are abusing me right now.
You deserve
check
it.
me out. It's twitch.tv/sickunchained. It's on screen. I also have a Twitter and a YouTube. YouTube's kind of inactive. I cover drama. I do all the fun shit. If you want politics, the only thing we're defending right now is usage of gamer words, such as the N-word. Okay? So, that's it.
Base, can you say the N-word real quick?
I can't because of TOS. It's a cultural change, okay? And it's slow. It's a slow process.
Not standing by
I'd
your
say you
bleep.
look like the kind of guy that would support that, just visually.
All right, Ginger.
Hey, I am Gingerama at twitch.tv/Gingerama. I do gaming, panels, cosplay, and I do dramatic readings now of ridiculous things. I right now am doing a dramatic reading of Why Women Deserve Less by Myron Gaines. And we are on chapter 5 and only 25 pages in, so if you guys are interested, come on by.
Elder Drazi.
Hi, I'm Elderdrazi. Most people know me as the guy who they thought was Smeth at first. I'm on Twitch and YouTube, Twitter. It's all Elderdrazi. I think the thing that I really want to leave people with is if you guys think that Mr. Girl is abusive, the panelists and audience alike, if you think that Mr. Girl's abusive and the things that you've seen in his videos are abusive. I think you should really challenge yourself and ask like why that is, because I haven't heard very compelling reasons, and if it is abusive, then I definitely need to stop role playing the real doll video with my wife and girlfriend. Wife obviously being the real doll in that scenario. So I need somebody to convince me because I don't want to abuse my partners.
You got the deal that Max wasn't able to get.
Whoa.
Yeah, I just heard my wife laugh from the bedroom. Yeah, my partners are super cool. Except for like my girlfriend really wants to be the doll, and I said
One
no,
could describe them as
she hasn't
ice
earned it yet.
cold even.
Yes.
I was just gonna say I want to be the doll so you can wear my face.
There you go. I will wear your face.
Wow, this
thank
just
you.
got like next level horses here.
Some
This is
Ed Gein
definitely some
shit over
goodbye
here.
horses shit going on.
Assigned female at birth, by the way. It's not even a normal Mr. Girl fan.
And
Yeah, this isn't usual male socialization that we're used to getting.
Yeah.
If I don't say this at the end here, I'm gonna be in trouble. Portland got very mad at me for not saying that. Tuna, I love you and Portland like equally. He got very mad at the beginning when I said that.
Take that shit back,
I'm a
you
big fan of
fucking
yours.
coward. You
I
got
said
a
that Portland
DM
wanted me
and you
to say
started
it.
pussying up. You're gonna be
I
sucking my
said he
dick
wanted to
after
say
this.
That's it for me.
Just so your
thanks for
girlfriend
having
can
me on.
have a little taste when you kiss next time. Keep going.
Oh, jeez. All right. Well, I want to thank you all for coming. Thank you all for coming. Discord.gg/political shit show. Queen Alexa 148 on Twitter. I just started there. Please go follow me. I just started. And now get the fuck
Thank
out of my
you for
VC.
that.
Yeah, and get the fuck
All
out of the VC. Fuck
All
off.
right, bye-bye.
I'm sick of you people. I'm sick of you fucking people.
You're gonna have to kiss
Bye,
me, you son of a
everybody. I
bitch.
am so sick of you fucking people. Holy fuck.
That was a shit show. Thank you for tuning in, Smeth heads. If you're new to the channel, like and subscribe or whatever the fuck. Hey. All right. Thank you for watching. See you next time.